Zhao Mingyu stands determined, stating she is the 29th successor of the Zhao family's yin-yang master, as she declares her pursuit of the thug. She mentions her profession as an exorcism and ghost-busting expert, exuding confidence in her abilities. Mingyu recalls how the thug stole the lunar horn, chasing him tirelessly for 3 days and nights. She begins to cast a powerful spell, calling upon heavenly deities to aid her. With a cry to unleash the spell, she springs forward in pursuit of the thief across rooftops. Mingyu threatens the thief, demanding the return of the lunar horn, warning of obliteration. The masked thief refuses, holding the glowing lunar horn defiantly, unwilling to give in. Mingyu reacts with shock to the thief's defiance, caught off guard by his audacity. She feels a moment of despair, questioning if this is how she will meet her end. Determined, she attempts to summon deities once more, invoking Heavenly Lord Lingguan. The scene shifts as she acknowledges the thief's self-destruction, leaving her injured. Disoriented, Mingyu finds herself far from the city, questioning how she arrived there. Observing her transformed appearance, Mingyu wonders if she is transmigrated. She laments the loss of her meticulously cultivated psychic powers. Facing the reality of her situation, she reflects on the irony of her untimely demise. Hunger gnaws at her as she observes the forest, wondering about food. She spots a mysterious figure attempting the failed summons, determined to try once more. The cloaked figure calls upon Heavenly Lord Lingguang, intent on completing the summoning. Despite repeated invocations, the summoning seems to falter without response. Mingyu speculates that the deity might no longer exist if the summons are unheeded. A skeletal hand startles her, causing her to cry out in alarm. She blames the lack of her psychic powers for not sensing the evil creature sooner. Turning confrontational, the figure questions Mingyu about the disrupted summoning. In comical frustration, Mingyu insists it wasn't her fault and blames the figure's failure. The figure, angry and determined, brandishes a weapon, vowing her demise. Just in time, Mingyu believes she is saved, reassured that her death is not imminent. Mingyu watches as ghostly hands form into a zombie. She takes a stand, urging the entity to stop right there. The cloaked figure ominously declares eternal death upon her. Realizing this is her moment, Mingyu braces herself to act. The girl sits quietly in tattered clothes, contemplating her escape plan amidst the chaos around her. An explosion erupts behind her, creating an opportunity for her to make her escape. She observes the aftermath, noting the destruction of the zombie. Realizing the power required to destroy such a creature, she identifies the person responsible as extraordinary. Doubt creeps in as she wonders if she might face her demise again. Determined, she decides that if she's going to die, she'll do so fighting. Suddenly, she notices a silence that catches her attention. Relieved, she expresses gratitude that the threat has left. Looking at her reflection, she observes her own youthful appearance. Two farmers in unusual attire approach, puzzling her. She approaches them, inquiring about the current time and place. The older farmer teasingly asks if she's lost track of time. They inform her of the location and date, providing context for her surroundings. She stands at the gates of Jinling City, taking in the new environment. Reflecting on her past, she deduces her transmigration is linked to the lunar horn. Pondering the summoning, she wonders about the forces that brought her here. She resolves that finding the lunar horn could be her key back home. Observing the bustling city, she plans to sneak inside unnoticed. Her hunger becomes a pressing concern, prompting her to seek food. An irate vendor harshly dismisses her, pushing her away. Another merchant splashes water at her, complaining about her presence. Feeling trapped and unlucky, she questions what she did to deserve such misfortune. Frustration mounts as she's chased, accused of theft. A bystander offers to help her escape in exchange for money, which she skeptically refuses. With nowhere left to run, the chase intensifies. Her pursuer calls for backup to catch the thief. In a heated moment, her adversary lunges at her. She quickly realizes the danger if the elderly man is harmed. Her opponent commands her to stay out of the altercation. Overwhelmed by hunger, she struggles to muster the energy to continue. Liuzi is flung into the air with the sign reading Prince Yan's residence beside her. Two workers are putting up a notice on the wall discussing how it needs to be done properly, while Liuzi sits on the street observing. As Liuzi sits up, she notices the words "the lunar horn" on the notice, which catches her attention. One of the workers comments on Liuzi's clumsy nature as she focuses on the notice behind them. Liuzi feels optimistic, believing the stars have aligned for her after seeing the notice. She considers her lack of support and how finding the lunar horn seems impossible, staring at the notice in contemplation. Liuzi realizes Prince Yan might be influential and thinks of leveraging his status for her benefit. Determined to access the residence, Liuzi ponders on a plan to gain entry. One of the workers offers Liuzi money as a reward for saving them, suggesting she buy food with it. Liuzi shakes her head vigorously, refusing the money offered to her. The worker questions whether the offer is insufficient, looking at Liu Zi. Liu Zi explains she desires a job instead of money, emphasizing her capability and willingness to work hard. Impressed by Liu Zi's foresight and cleverness, the worker reflects on her request. Liu Zi shares that her family is missing, expressing her inability to survive alone. The worker decides to take Liu Zi in, mentioning the resident's current need for a male servant. Liu Zi is surprised by the requirement of being a male servant, contemplating the situation. After considering briefly, Liu Zi agrees to the role, noting she will take on the male servant position. Liu Zi expresses gratitude, calling the worker a good man for helping her. The worker clarifies that Liu Zi should address him as Mr. Housekeeper once inside the prince's residence. Liu Zi acknowledges the instruction, addressing him as Mr. Housekeeper respectfully. The worker acknowledges the completion of the notice placement, preparing to lead Liu Zi into the residence. He instructs another servant, planning for Liu Zi to work in the kitchen, and they begin to head back. The view displays the entrance to Prince Yan's residence, marked clearly at the top. Inside, Zhao Mingyu assigns chores to Liu Zi, detailing responsibilities such as fetching water and washing vegetables. As they proceed, Zhao Mingyu explains the layout, identifying Grand Celebration Hall and Tranquility Hall as key areas within the residence. Zhao Mingyu suggests leaving the area, hinting it might not be safe to linger. Liu Zi notices someone seated on the stairs and wonders aloud about their identity. Liu Zi and Zhao Mingyu rush through a brick archway into the kitchen's backyard, concerned about drawing attention. Liu Zi is bothered by the expression on a child's face they encountered, describing it as unsettling. Zhao Mingyu agrees, comparing the child's expression to that of a corpse, and noting no one else is around to see it. Su Wanrong is puzzled about the strange appearance of someone, questioning why he looked that way. Su Wanrong learns that Prince Yan's health is poor, requiring a luckbringer. A child was chosen to ward off evil, and she wonders about this unusual role. According to the records, people like him aren't called luckbringers, they're actually referred to as life substitutes. To escape death, ghosts seek humans to replace them, and these humans are known as death substitutes. A sick person coughs in bed, and it is explained that humans also find replacements for themselves. Those taking on this role are life substitutes. Describing the incredible fortune people are born with, however, they are cursed to transfer their luck, health, and grace to their masters. It's described euphemistically how these people shine luck on their masters, thus are called luckbringers, although the reality is grim. A person comments that they heard Prince Yan's mother die because of his bad luck, advising to stay away from him. Once a person seen as a lucky star, Prince Yan is now perceived as a walking curse, causing others to shun him. Su Wanrong questions if this is what they call uncontrollable destiny and wonders about the longevity of this luckbringer. It's noted that most of the master's luckbringers die on the night of a new moon, hinting at a grim fate. No luckbringer can live past the 15th day of the 7th month, necessitating yin-yang masters to bring in new luckbringers by then. Su Wanrong wonders if Prince Yan might be the incarnation of calamity, pondering the terrifying implications. A senior worker demands Su Wanrong to get back to work, breaking her train of thought. Another worker explains that Aunt Zhang believes only the lunar event can alter the master's birth chart. Su Wanrong is shocked to hear about the lunar horn, emphasizing its importance. The worker confirms the lunar horn's significance, smacking his forehead for emphasis. Su Wanrong questions whether the lunar horn has been found yet, hinting at her curiosity in the matter. The worker explains that despite the emperor sending many yin-yang masters, no one has found the lunar horn over the years. Su Wanrong is determined to find valuable information in the residence and plans to get closer to Prince Yan. A distressed person announces the return of the curse, causing alarm. Su Wanrong questions what curse the person is referring to, showing her curiosity. The person explains that the maid serving Prince Yan drowned yesterday, suggesting it's related to the curse. Another worker acknowledges that it's yet another death, part of Grimm's cycle of one death every 100 days. The distressed person wonders about their safety, noting that only the backyard servants have died so far. In panic, two workers sob together, leaving Su Wanrong speechless and observing the scene. Su Wanrong offers to investigate the source of fear, encouraging the two scared workers to take a look. One of the workers, still crying, is surprised by Su Wanrong's invitation to confront their fears. Birds fly over a coffin, and the crying can still be heard, indicating a somber mood at the residence. Su Wanrong reassures the worker that the deceased girl has been given a proper send-off, trying to calm the situation. Zhao Mingyu and a boy stand side by side. The boy whispers, expressing impatience about leaving, while Zhao Mingyu listens attentively. The boy, looking mischievous, is startled as a firm hand suddenly lands on his shoulder with a slap. Zhao Mingyu watches as the boy dashes away in fear, thinking about how scared he remains despite being there for so long. Zhao Mingyu walks away calmly. A voice calls her name, addressing her as Sister Wanrong. She turns her head, identifying the voice and recalling Su Wanrong, who transferred from the palace. Su Wanrong walks alongside Kuishu, who asks her if she will bring Prince Yan his meals. Su Wanrong mentions being too busy recently. Su Wanrong encourages Kuishu by noting her cleverness and good looks, suggesting she might be chosen to serve the prince. Kuishu smiles ruefully, pondering who would refuse to serve the prince in this residence. Zhao Mingyu observes the two from a distance, considering that everyone seems afraid of being assigned to that job. An opportunity unfolds for Zhao Mingyu as she views this as her chance, striding forward purposefully. Su Wanrong suddenly spots someone approaching and exclaims that she is here. Su Wanrong steps forward, catching sight of someone approaching her with caution. Su Wanrong stops the person in their tracks with a commanding presence. Kuishu stops in front of Su Wanrong, addressing her nervously as Miss Su. Su Wanrong demands to know why Kuishu is lingering, warning of the consequences if Supervisor Liu discovers her. Kuishu explains that she was merely curious and wanted to look around. Su Wanrong scolds Kuishu for her presumptuous behavior, reminding her of the rules against loitering near Tranquility Hall. Kuishu pleads with Su Wanrong not to inform the supervisor, promising to leave immediately. Su Wanrong, with a soft smile, reassures Kuishu that she will help her this time since they met today. Grateful, Kuishu thanks Su Wanrong, complimenting her beauty and kindness. Su Wanrong offers Kuishu the task of taking dinner to Tranquility Hall, addressing her as sister. Kuishu hesitates, voicing concern about the rules, but feels optimistic about the opportunity. Su Wanrong assures her that as long as she keeps quiet, everything will be fine, emphasizing her silence about this permission breach. Kuishu expresses doubt about her position and eligibility to serve Prince Yan his meal. Su Wanrong promises to speak to Supervisor Liu about promoting Kuishu to a regular servant. Kuishu expresses gratitude, taking the meal container from Su Wanrong's hands. Su Wanrong watches Kuishu leave, relieved to have passed the responsibility off to her. Kuishu feels triumphant, commenting on how easy it was to take on the task as she carries the meal container. Su Wanrong instructs Kuishu to leave the dinner on the table and return after 2 hours to clear it away. Kuishu stands outside the doorway, reminded not to enter the bedroom or any rooms in the main house without permission. In a quiet room, a hand places a covered dish on a table, while a young servant, Mingyu, stands nearby, coughing lightly. Mingyu thinks to herself that the prince she serves is quite ill and recalls being advised to never disturb Prince Yan without permission. Determined to help, Mingyu considers a plan to make her presence known. She stands in the corridor, pondering her next move. Mingyu is greeted warmly by Zhao, who approaches with a smile, causing Mingyu to turn, momentarily forgetting her worries. Zhao and Mingyu discuss the remedies prescribed by the physician. Zhao informs Mingyu that the physician is unsure about the rest of the herbs apart from the coughing cure. Mingyu decides to mix the herbs randomly, hoping it might lead to something effective. Zhao watches curiously as Mingyu gets to work. Mingyu proudly presents the final concoction, attributing its secret ingredient to the yin-yang master of the Zhao family, believing it to be a special remedy for coughing. Back in her room, Mingyu is coughing again while reflecting that a month has passed since she started her attempts to help Prince Yan. Mingyu places an array of meticulously prepared dishes before her, frustrated that Prince Yan consistently refuses to take the medicine. Though disheartened, she resolves to use her experience and stubbornness to persevere, finding new ways to encourage Prince Yan to accept her care. In another room, Prince Yan reflects on the past month and acknowledges Mingyu's unwavering devotion despite his lingering cough. Casually tasting the medicine, Prince Yan notes that it's not bitter, but actually a little sweet, pondering Mingyu's determination. Despite remarking that the medicine is useless to him, he appreciates the sweetness and the effort behind it, considering it a thoughtful gesture. Mingyu sighs as she notices that the prince didn't consume any food again. She wonders anxiously about the medicine's effectiveness. Delighting in seeing an empty vial, Mingyu realizes he actually took one of the pills, marking a small success in her long efforts. Filled with hope, Mingyu muses over the bright future she envisions for Prince Yan, based on this positive sign. Mingyu stirs a pot of hamburger's porridge, confident that this medicinal dish, combined with the Zhao family's medicine, will drastically improve the prince's health. Su arrives, curious about the contents of the pot. Mingyu, focused on her cooking, explains the porridge's purpose. She describes how an elder physician taught her about this medicinal dish, praising the amazing effects as she continues stirring. Su advises Mingyu to keep their medicine's origins a secret due to inquiries from housekeeper Zhu, implying they would both face consequences if the truth were out. Mingyu reassures Su, appreciating her protective actions and understanding the necessity of the secrecy. Despite feeling mischievous, Mingyu humorously accuses Su of wanting all the credit, reflecting on Su's personality. Stu contemplates Mingyu's help, advising her to attribute the success of their work to Su herself if ever questioned. Mingyu earnestly agrees to give Su the credit, holding onto her cooking tools with determination and loyalty. Stu assures Mingyu that she will share the benefits of their success, strengthening the bond and trust between them. Mingyu inquires about her request to work at the Great Academy, hopeful that the result of their medicinal dish might aid her aspirations. Su kindly assures Mingyu that if the medicine proves effective, she will support Mingyu's request at the academy, handing her a packed lunch. Mingyu walks towards her destination, her spirit high with hope and ambition, considering it a vital step in becoming closer to Chuziru. The Emperor's decree announces the promotion of Su Wanrong, recognizing her contribution to the improvement of Prince Yan's health, along with a substantial reward. Su Wanrong, receiving the Emperor's grace, exclaims her gratitude, while those around her, including Mingyu, bow in acknowledgement of the honor. Chuziru thinks about letting Su Wanrong take credit to act as his shield. An elder informs everyone that Su Wanrong, now courtier, can assign chores. Su Wanrong expresses gratitude for the care and kindness she received, mentioning her intention to distribute His Majesty's reward. Two palace folk comment on Su Wanrong's cleverness at winning hearts, noting that it's typical of palace people. The elder claps and tells everyone to get back to work. Su Wanrong halts Zhao Mingyu with a hand on her shoulder. Zhao Mingyu is aware of something coming, indicated by the hand on her shoulder. Su Wanrong holds a scroll announcing that Zhao Mingyu will now work at the Great Academy. Zhao Mingyu is content with her simple chores of sweeping and delivering meals, finding them easy tasks. Zhao Mingyu admires some ripe organic pears, thinking about how delicious they look. Zhao Mingyu notes that with Prince Yan in the palace, Tranquility Hall should be empty. A cat appears, giving a soft meow under the pear tree. Zhao Mingyu plans to save the cat after picking some fruit. Zhao Mingyu bites into a sweet pear, enjoying its taste. Zhao Mingyu asks the cat to keep watch as she finishes eating. Zhao Mingyu praises the cat's skills and prepares to rescue it. She notices bubbles rising from a spring beneath the tree. Zhao Mingyu realizes someone was recently in the area when she spots a tea set. Yan Quarters, accompanied by a cough, walks down a hallway. Zhao Mingyu, hiding in a tree with a cat, recognizes the sound of Prince Yan's cough. Zhao Mingyu thinks Prince Yan should take his medicine to recover. Zhao Mingyu marvels at Prince Yan's beauty. She laments that Prince Yan's illness keeps him at home, imagining the hearts he'd break if others could see him. Zhao Mingyu decides to remain hidden. Prince Yan holds a strand of beads, rustling as he moves. Zhao Mingyu is surprised, suspecting Prince Yan is about to bathe. Unsure whether to watch or look away, Zhao Mingyu weighs her options. Through Zhao Mingyu's eyes, she debates about sneaking a peek, feeling the allure. Prince Yan, noticing something, demands to know who is there. The startled cat jumps through the air, providing a diversion. Ham is startled as a cat suddenly leaps onto her face, causing a smacking sound. Am holds the cat, expressing indignation at its intrusion while she was bathing as it meows innocently. Zhao Mingyu examines a pear she has taken out, her expression focused. Zhao Mingyu takes a bite of the pear, feeling a slight restoration of her psychic powers. Zhao Mingyu sits at her desk in the Great Academy, contemplating the significance of the new moon night. Standing at a window, Zhao Mingyu reflects on the new moon as a night haunted by the presence of ghosts. Walking through the dimly lit corridor, Zhao Mingyu senses an ominous wind after regaining some psychic ability. In the Garden of Eternal Spring, Zhao Mingyu feels something is amiss as she walks with her lantern. Zhao Mingyu calls out to the darkness, questioning who might be there. Kuishu appears, visibly shaken, claiming to have seen something distressing. Zhao Mingyu urges Kuishu to calm down and explain what has happened. Kuishu tearfully admits she thinks she saw Lil Gao, trembling as she speaks. Zhao Mingyu reassures Kuishu, inquiring about Lil Gao's identity. Kuishu, holding her head in despair, cries out that Lil Gao was a victim of a curse, mentioning other deaths. Zhao Mingyu recalls hearing about Lil Gao in connection to Prince Yan's curse, showing her concern. Zhao Mingyu comforts Kuishu, suggesting the darkness might be causing her mistakes. Zhao Mingyu advises Kuishu to return with the guards passing by soon, offering her protection. Zhao Mingyu enters Tranquility Hall, wondering about the ill wind around Prince Yan's quarters. Yan Quarters is lying down, noting the unusual speed of something approaching. Yan Quarters coughs as the ill wind affects him, predicting difficulty in maintaining his condition. Yan Quarters expresses that the situation is overwhelming for him. Yan Quarters attempts to channel his energy surrounded by swirling shadows. Zhao Mingyu stands outside Justice Hall, acknowledging her regained but insufficient psychic strength. Zhao Mingyu hears coughing from inside, observing silently with concern. Zhao Mingyu criticizes Yan Quarters for bathing inappropriately despite his frailty. Zhao Mingyu reflects on housekeeper Zhou's inspection schedule, thinking it might give her away. Zhao Mingyu realizes the danger of intruding on Prince Yan at night, recalling her previous close call. Fiery blue eyes appear in the darkness, adding to the tense atmosphere. Zhao Mingyu reacts with surprise, interrupted by the eerie sound of a meow. Zhao Mingyu questions the cat's return, wondering if it's seeking revenge for earlier abandonment. Su Wanrong contemplates a peculiar feeling guiding her to Tranquility Hall, puzzled by its direction. She halts and tells a small cat that she cannot enter, as Prince Yan forbade them from approaching the hall on a new moon night. The cat meows persistently, causing Su Wanrong to become increasingly frustrated as she recalls someone coughing. In anger, Su Wanrong shouts her frustration at the cat, blaming it for the situation she's found herself in. Conflicted, she struggles with her sense of justice, questioning her principles as she holds a lantern. Feeling a sudden chill, she wraps her arms around herself and wonders why it has become so cold. A sudden movement catches her attention. She turns to see something rapidly sliding across the ground. Su Wanrong crouches beside an unconscious person on the ground, assessing that they are still alive but unconscious. Alarmed, she realizes that Chu Ziyan is inside Tranquility Hall alone, prompting concern. Inside, she approaches Prince Yan, trying to rouse him gently while addressing him with respect. As she shakes him slightly, she worries about the worst-case scenario, fearing he might be dead. To her relief, Prince Yan coughs, indicating he is still conscious, albeit weakly. Suddenly, Prince Yan grabs her arm, prompting a surprised reaction from Su Wanrong as she processes the unexpected touch. Realizing his condition, she notices his high temperature and comments on his feverish state. Prince Yan, looking at her, asks who she is, puzzled by her unexpected presence. With some hesitation, Su Wanrong introduces herself, hiding a bit of nervousness. Prince Yan repeats her name, perhaps trying to familiarize himself with this unexpected visitor. Su Wanrong stands up, assuring him she will fetch assistance quickly due to his alarming fever. Prince Yan dismisses the need for immediate aid, saying it won't make a difference whether the housekeeper arrives or not. Su Wanrong challenges him on his refusal, surprised that he'd avoid medical help despite his condition. Prince Yan questions her about seeking a doctor, taken aback by the mention of one. Realizing her mistake, Su Wanrong reflects on her error and suggesting medical attention. She clarifies hastily, suggesting that his high fever necessitates urgent care from an Imperial physician. Prince Yan expresses resignation and hopelessness, feeling that it's a futile effort. Su Wanrong ponders whether the chills she felt earlier is related to his condition. Confused by such strange occurrences, Prince Yan reflects on an evil aura affecting him mysteriously. Observing his struggles, Su Wanrong thinks about Prince Yan's predicament and the serious implications. Gently reassuring him, she asks Prince Yan to wait while she devises a way to ease his discomfort. Prince Yan requests that she avoid summoning the Imperial physician as the doctor is not available currently. Agreeing to his request, Su Wanrong decides to find help on her own, assuring him of her swift return. Zhao Mingyu collects the fever medicine, holding several bottles in her arms, ensuring all the necessary ones are present. She approaches a dimly lit room, requesting for the light to be turned on as she steps inside. With the lamp now illuminated, Zhao Mingyu confirms to someone addressed as Your Highness that the light is on. She presents the medicine to his side, ensuring he takes it with care, referring to him as Your Highness again and aiding him. Chu Ziyan, lying on the bed, is overcome by a coughing fit as Zhao Mingyu tends to him. Chu Ziyan questions if she really is Su Wanrong, unsure of her identity. She reassures him, affirming her identity as Su Wanrong, while holding a cloth. Chu Ziyan reflects on how long it has been since he felt such warmth as he succumbs to sleepiness. Zhao Mingyu decides she needs to unfasten his clothes to help him cool off, contemplating her next action. She apologizes softly to him, acknowledging the necessity of what she's about to do for his health. Zhao Mingyu observes that the life substitute failed to ward off Chu Ziyan's illness, expressing concerns for his condition. With determination, Zhao Mingyu urges Chu Ziyan to stay alive while she searches for the lunar horn, a crucial cure. Faced with a dilemma, she hesitates, wondering if she should remove his pants as well. Deciding against it, she plans to use a towel to dry him off, clarifying her intentions. Zhao Mingyu struggles to see in the dim light, fumbling as she attempts to help Chu Ziyan. Her hands accidentally slip onto him, eliciting an involuntary reaction from Chu Ziyan. A comedic lightning strike underscores her mortified realization of what she's touched. Blushing intensely, Zhao Mingyu berates herself for getting so easily flustered. She gazes at Chu Ziyan, admiring his beauty even while sick, likening him to a work of art. Reflecting on fate, Zhao Mingyu believes finding him prevents his untimely death. She prepares an exorcism pill, crafted specifically to aid Chu Zian, ready to administer it. Su Wanrong confronts her about meddling, reminding her they were forbidden to enter Tranquility Hall without permission. Strongly, Su Wanrong accuses Zhao Mingyu of risking everything and dragging her into trouble by using her name. Zhao Mingyu accepts responsibility, prepared to face any consequences from Prince Yan if need be. Su Wanrong warns of the fate of the last person who trespassed in Tranquility Hall, emphasizing the severity. She emphasizes the gravity of the situation by stating the previous intruder was executed without a second thought. Another girl rushes in, informing Sister Wanrong that housekeeper Zhao requires everyone's presence in the main hall. The main hall of Prince Yan's residence is shown, people gathering as requested. Zhao Mingyu and Su Wanrong discuss the unexpected gathering, suspecting something significant or troubling has occurred. Housekeeper Zhu stands before everyone, conveying that Prince Yan has something important to announce to the assembled crowd. Two young servants stand outside, one whispering in surprise about an unexpected situation, while another tugs at their clothing, looking awkward. An official announces the arrival of the prince in an elaborately decorated room. A maid stands respectfully beside him, holding her head low in observance. The prince, emperor, enters wearing regal attire. Maidens kneel before him, greeting his highness in unison, showing their reverence. Zhao Mingyu, standing outside, is asked to rise and is described mentally as a gentle and exceptionally beautiful young man. The prince speaks of his improved health and expresses a desire to know everyone at the residence better, showing his appreciation. Zhao Mingyu feels anxious, worried the prince will remember past actions, unsure if they will have repercussions. A servant named Ke Zhang steps forward to greet the prince, introducing himself with respect and nervousness. Zhao Mingyu reflects on past incidents like spying and touching, counting the number of crimes in panic while another servant introduces themselves. The prince calls for the next person. Zhao Mingyu continues to count anxiously, wondering about the consequences. Zhao Mingyu steps forward, introducing themselves formally and bowing as a humble servant in the residence. The prince inquires Zhao Mingyu about their place of work, indicating interest and attention in their service. Zhao Mingyu explains they work at the academy and nervously states they have only recently arrived, hence not having met the prince. The prince instructs Zhao Mingyu to raise their head and to take a good look, prompting hesitation. Zhao Mingyu, thinking there's a risk of being recognized, complies and raises their head, concerned about the secret lunar horn. The prince comments internally on Zhao Mingyu's shyness, observing their demeanor with a mild amusement. Zhao Mingyu, slightly taken aback, processes the prince's comment, questioning their interpretation about being labeled as shy. Zhao Mingyu reflects on their identity, sorely noting they are a 14-year-old boy, feeling their pride diminished. The prince calls for the next person, leaving Zhao Mingyu to ponder whether they passed or not, harboring mixed feelings. As Zhao Mingyu turns away, they remark internally on the prince's fox-like smile, feeling uneasy about what it might imply. Zhao Mingyu quietly addresses Su Wanrong as they move along the line, indicating a private moment or reminder. Su Wanrong drops her knees with a thud, responding affirmatively and politely to the prince, acknowledging him. The prince recalls an event from last night with thoughtful demeanor, starting to address Su Wanrong. Zhao Mingyu worries whether the prince is going to retaliate for events from the previous night, feeling anxious. The prince commends Su Wanrong's hard work, acknowledging her efforts from the previous night while sipping tea. Su Wanrong responds nervously, expressing that it was her honor to serve the prince, trying to downplay her involvement. The prince reminds Su Wanrong of strict orders against entering a specific area, stressing that violators will face punishment. Su Wanrong attempts to explain herself, visibly stressed about the prince's misunderstanding and the looming consequences. Zhao Mingyu worries that Su Wanrong might reveal secrets involving them, fearing the situation is escalating. Zhao Mingyu internally debates whether they'll be doomed before finding the lunar horn, gauging the mounting risks. The prince kindly interrupts, addressing what Zhao Mingyu assumes are Su Wanrong's thoughts, that keep staring at Zhao, adding to their confusion. Yan Quarters acknowledges Su Wanrong's efforts and declares she will be rewarded for protecting the master, as seen by the exclamation marks behind her. As Su Wanrong listens, it is stated that she has dedicated time and effort, performed a deed of merit the previous night, and will receive a special reward. An additional gift is announced by an elder, who says each person will receive a token of appreciation from His Benevolent Highness, while Yan Quarters rises. The workers express readiness to risk everything for the residents with enthusiasm and determination. Zhao Mingyu stands among the group, pondering if all of this was part of a trap set up. Zhao Mingyu encounters a fluffy cat by a bucket of water, questioning if it's here to disturb him again, labeling it as Lil Snowball. The cat seems unfazed, enjoying the attention as Zhao Mingyu questions if it disturbs him all the time while caressing its head. Yan Quarters appears, prompting Zhao Mingyu to bow, addressing him as Your Highness. Yan Quarters identifies Zhao Mingyu, instructing him to pick up the cat. Yan Quarters inquires if the cat belongs to Zhao Mingyu, mentioning he heard it being called Lil Snowball. Zhao Mingyu hurriedly denies ownership, emphasizing the cat isn't his. Yan Quarters describes the cat as naughty, recalling it hid in the pear tree while he was bathing. Zhao Mingyu, blushing with a sense of guilt, concurs, acknowledging the cat's naughtiness. Yan Quarters playfully confirms the cat's mischievous nature, continuing to pet it. Zhao Mingyu is flustered, wondering if Yan Quarters refers to the cat regarding the bathing incident, fearing he might be caught. Yan Quarters shifts the topic to ripe pears on a nearby tree, expressing interest in having some, addressing Zhao Mingyu. Zhao Mingyu appears caught off guard, contemplating if Yan Quarters' intentions are sincere. Yan Quarters turns his back, asking Zhao Mingyu if assistance is unwelcome, implying he could decline. Zhao Mingyu, eager to stay in favor, expresses it is an honor to serve Yan Quarters. Yan Quarters questions Zhao Mingyu's pause, wondering why there is no action yet. Zhao Mingyu confesses to Yan Quarters that he lacks the skills to climb a tree. Yan Quarters expresses concern, pondering whether this means no pears will be eaten. Zhao Mingyu, touched by Yan Quarters' demeanor, resolves to assist him despite the challenges. Determined, Zhao Mingyu reassures Yan Quarters, promising to find a way to get the pears. Zhao Mingyu reveals an alternative plan, holding a pole and a cloth, confident in his idea despite his limitations. Using the pole with the cloth tied to the end, Zhao Mingyu skillfully pulls pears from the tree. Yan Quarters praises Zhao Mingyu's ingenuity, offering him a chance to try it while expressing curiosity in this new technique. Yan Quarters reveals he has never seen or heard of such a method, indicating amazement while observing the pear. A narrative voice reflects on Yan Quarters' isolated nature due to rumors, while Zhao Mingyu hands him the pole. Yan Quarters encourages Zhao Mingyu to attempt the technique himself, showing interest in his skill. Yan Quarters stands outside, acknowledging something with a brief word. All right. Two academicians discuss the prince's health and decide to leave, concerned about his noble status. Yan Quarters, sitting, listens to Zhao Mingyu confess fatigue. Zhao Mingyu offers to escort Yan Quarters back to rest, to which he agrees quietly. Zhao Mingyu plans to find housekeeper Zhou for the Imperial physician, reaching out to Yan Quarters. Yan Quarters declines the physician, inviting Zhao Mingyu to sit beside him instead. Zhao Mingyu, feeling anxious about sitting on Prince Yan's bed, worries about saying something inappropriate. Zhao Mingyu decides to excuse himself humbly, leaving the room. Yan Quarters softly calls out to Zhao Mingyu before he leaves. Zhao Mingyu responds energetically to Yan Quarters' call, showing eagerness to help. Yan Quarters instructs Zhao Mingyu not to move and to stay where he is. Yan Quarters curiously questions Zhao Mingyu about his fear earlier that day while holding a pear. Zhao Mingyu appears confused, unsure of why he should be scared. Yan Quarters asserts confidently that Zhao Mingyu is indeed scared of him. Yan Quarters wonders why Zhao Mingyu shook his head, asking for clarification. Zhao Mingyu admits his awkwardness with words and fears offending Yan Quarters. Yan Quarters gently inquires if Zhao Mingyu would visit more often for conversations. Zhao Mingyu eagerly agrees, showing enthusiasm for the idea. Zhao Mingyu questions himself, worried if he said something wrong. Yan Quarters reassures him, curious if Zhao Mingyu is not frightened by his rumored curse. Zhao Mingyu compares the curse lightly, explaining he's endured worse troubles like starvation and beatings. Yan Quarters is surprised by Zhao Mingyu's calm perspective and asks about others' reactions. Yan Quarters recounts how others pledged their risk-taking devotion to him willingly. Yan Quarters reveals that, despite promises, there's a shared fear in his residence as mid-July approaches. Zhao Mingyu recalls an ominous saying about life substitutes not surviving past the Hungry Ghost Festival. Yan Quarters dismisses the idea of self-sacrifice lightly and permits Zhao Mingyu to leave. Zhao Mingyu muses about changing perceptions and seizing the chance to inquire about the lunar horn, sweeping fallen leaves. Determined, Zhao Mingyu decides to strategize anew since Prince Yan hasn't summoned him again. Mixed voices discuss the closeness of the festival and bringing back substitutes dedicatedly. Zhao Mingyu approaches, hoping for news regarding the lunar horn. Zhao Mingyu hides behind large rocks in the northern garden of the residence, observing the grand building from a distance. Inside the courtyard, a small group protests loudly. They express a strong desire to escape, citing fear for their lives and condemning those in power for their disregard of human life. Wuxu, the director of destinies for the Chu Kingdom, stands formally with his characteristic staff, looking authoritative as he surveys the situation. Meng Lu reports to Wu Xu about recent casualties among the Luckbringers. He mentions that others have become too frightened to be of any use. Wu Xu discusses the rumors with an assistant. The forbidden nature of the Northern Hill is causing fear due to the spread of information regarding the fate of the Luckbringers. Wu Xu gives orders to a guard Meng Lu, instructing him to separate the new Luckbringers to prevent further incidents, emphasizing the seriousness of the situation. Zhao Mingyu, hidden, contemplates the urgent need to leave the chaotic environment of the garden. A figure dressed in gold and black suddenly bumps into Zhao Mingyu, startled by her presence. She watches him as he moves rapidly. Zhao Mingyu calls out to the stranger who has just stopped nearby, insisting that he halt at once. The stranger pulls Zhao Mingyu by the hand, urging her to follow quickly as they attempt to evade detection. A serene view of the northern garden is depicted, highlighting the area's peaceful ambience amid the unfolding tension. Zhao Mingyu and her companion crouch beneath a window. She instructs him to remain silent, hinting at the gravity of their precarious position. The companion questions what Zhao Mingyu's plan is, but she urges him to focus on his own safety first. Guards led by Meng Lu enter the area with orders to search thoroughly, determined to find any intruders. One of the guards confronts Zhao Mingyu and her companion, angrily questioning their presence in the Forbidden Garden. Zhao Mingyu introduces herself while holding a small white cat, indicating her initial purpose was to search for her missing pet. Housekeeper Zhou confronts Zhao Mingyu about her unauthorized presence, prompting her to explain her actions related to her cat. Wu Xu is informed by Housekeeper Zhou about Zhao Mingyu's role as a new servant, clarifying her status within the residence. A guard accuses Zhao Mingyu of spreading rumors, pointing out the suspicious nature of her story regarding the Northern Garden. Zhao Mingyu maintains her innocence, expressing ignorance about any rumors and asserting her newness to the residence. The guard decides that punishment is necessary to extract the truth from Zhao Mingyu, ordering her to be flogged. Zhao Mingyu braces herself for the impending punishment, lamenting the anticipated pain from the flogging. Zhuan Huang intervenes just in time, commanding attention and addressing the guards with authority. Zhuan Huang holds the cat Zhao Mingyu was searching for, remarking on how he has been looking everywhere for it. Zhuan Huang questions Zhao Mingyu's reasons for being in the garden, acknowledging the situation coolly. Zhao Mingyu explains her accidental trespassing while trying to locate the missing cat in the forbidden area. Zhuan Huang speaks to Wu Xu, advocating leniency for Zhao Mingyu since her intentions were innocent and related to her pet. Wu Xu raises the issue of rumors causing disorder, expressing concern about the Luckbringers' reliability. Zhuan Huang addresses Zhao Mingyu, querying her understanding of the Luckbringers' role and significance. Zhao Mingyu internally decides that denying knowledge of Luckbringers is the safest course of action in the current scenario. Wu Xu holds a cat and contemplates his need for charms to ward off evil, expressing doubts about his longevity beyond the 15th without them. The Emperor reassures Wu Xu, promising to find a suitable Luckbringer to ensure his survival past the 7th month, while sitting cross-legged on the ground holding a staff. Wu Xu, unfazed, reflects on the long life he's already had, showing indifference to finding another Luckbringer. Zhao Mingyu is puzzled, wondering what experiences Wu Xu has had to make such a statement so calmly, with a shocked expression and slight coloring of embarrassment on her face. The Emperor urges Wu Xu to maintain his fighting spirit, suggesting that progress past the 7th month will bring more peace. Wu Xu and Zhao Mingyu converse. He questions her understanding of peace as they pet a cat, then tells her it's time to leave. Zhao Mingyu, holding a cat, steps forward energetically, stating her willingness to become Wu Xu's Luckbringer and fight off evil for him. Wu Xu is taken aback by Zhao Mingyu's offer. He questions if she comprehends the implications as she expresses her wish to be his Luckbringer. Observers speculate about Zhao Mingyu's commitment to becoming a Luckbringer, suggesting that he's not interested in spreading rumors. Wu Xu, while pleased with Zhao Mingyu's eagerness to help, questions her suitability for the role, indicating that few possess the qualities required to be his Luckbringer. The Emperor requests Zhao Mingyu to share her 4 pillars of destiny, setting in motion an assessment of her suitability. Zhao Mingyu confidently recites her birth details as midnight on the 15th day of the 8th month, 605b. The Emperor ponders Zhao Mingyu's unique birth chart, asserting his mastery in yin-yang fortune, telling to recognize a perfect candidate like her. The Emperor reacts with surprise as he realizes Zhao Mingyu's true potential. Someone questions if she is indeed a good fit. Zhao Mingyu, cradling the cat, self-deprecatingly remarks that despite her unsuitability, she's always been tough since childhood. Wu Xu, comforting Zhao Mingyu, suggests her not being chosen isn't entirely negative, implying a hidden upside. Wu Xu turns away with purpose, leaving Zhao Mingyu and another character puzzled, while Zhao Mingyu holds the cat closely to her chest. The Emperor laughs heartily, proclaiming the might of the netherworld deity who binds wickedness with the Book of Death. The Emperor gloriously declares that the heavens favor him, believing Zhao Mingyu to be a divinely chosen one while raising his arms skyward with newfound excitement. A bystander asks the Emperor if Zhao Mingyu genuinely holds the qualifications to become a luckbringer. The Emperor enthusiastically proclaims Zhao Mingyu's qualifications as extraordinary, suggesting she's a rare celestial masterpiece created by heaven itself. Another character speculates if Zhao Mingyu has innate divine blessings accompanying her since birth, intrigued by her potential gods-given fortune. The Emperor explains how Zhao Mingyu's birth during a significant time garners the lunar god's favor, marking her as exceptionally rare and protected. One character questions the contradiction of Zhao Mingyu's supposed fortune versus her current impoverished status. The Emperor chastises the ill-informed inquiry, clarifying that the lunar god is a warrior god designed to bind evil, and explains how Zhao is the perfect match for combating calamity. Zhao Mingyu processes her involvement with the incarnation of calamity, reflecting on her perceived misfortune and current situation. Zhao Mingyu quietly acknowledges her limitations compared to her previous life, realizing the complexities and dangers of her new challenges, while holding the cat closely for comfort. Zhao Mingyu congratulates Wuxu on discovering a benefactor, expressing gratitude mingled with her understanding of the gravity of her decision. Wuxu questions Zhao Mingyu's intentions with slight exasperation as another character displays amusement, appreciating the situation's peculiarity. Zhao Mingyu, with quiet determination, reiterates her wish to become Wuxu's luckbringer, holding the cat as she presents her offer unequivocally. Yan Quarters questions if the other person even knows what a luckbringer is, suggesting concern or disbelief. Yan Quarters explains that a luckbringer's duty is to die in his place, struggling with his own coughs. Aham observes Yan Quarters with confusion, noting the self-loathing evident in his gaze. Yan Quarters, holding Aham, questions their willingness to die for him, expressing inability to offer anything in return, while struggling to breathe. The Emperor orders that Yan Quarters be taken to Tranquility Hall, emphasizing the need for the Imperial physician as Yan Quarters struggles. Aham appears thoughtful, unable to immediately process what is unfolding. Aham is questioned about regretting their decision to volunteer as a luckbringer, acknowledging the inherent risk. The Emperor recounts how Aham gave up their chance for a normal life by revealing their birth chart, implying that it saved the prince. Aham, hopeful, asks if their blessings mean they won't die despite becoming a luckbringer. The Emperor acknowledges Aham's youthful optimism. The Emperor expresses intent to delay Aham's responsibilities until after the prince's 15th year, conditional on the survival of others. As the conversation shifts, the Emperor asks what the matter is, turning his attention back to Aham. Aham confesses to spreading rumors about the new luckbringers and questions if they'll be punished. The Emperor, startled, demands to know the reason for Aham's actions and the plot against the prince. Blushing, Aham insists they just wanted to be a luckbringer without knowing the true consequences. Aham admits ignorance of a luckbringer's fate and reveals envy over their riches, desiring the position for personal gain. Feeling guilty, Aham explains they are confessing now because rumors led to others' deaths. Aham, determined, asks to become the luckbringer on the 15th to atone for their actions. Aham departs quickly, leaving the scene resolved yet troubled. Chuzuru approaches Aham with urgency, questioning why Aham chose to save them. Aham simply states it wasn't out of envy for Chuzuru's riches, admitting to being the source of the rumors. Aham questions Chuzuru's motives, seeking a deeper understanding of the situation. Chuzuru admits to actions taken to save their mother, lamenting broken promises as they compare lives. Emotional, Chuzuru questions the morality of sacrificing others for one person's life, tears present. Aham consoles Chuzuru, questioning their true desires and expressing disbelief over the cost of being a luckbringer. Aham reflects philosophically, asserting everyone has their own destiny and acknowledging limitations in altering fate. Grateful, Chuzuru recalls Aham's actions during a perilous night, expressing the impact of their intervention. Chuzuru shares the mysterious impression Aham left on them, suspecting Aham's extraordinariness. Chuzuru observes that Aham radiates a light, hinting at something unique about them. Aham is intrigued by Chuzuru's remark about giving off light, as Chuzuru notes others give off darkness. Aham advises Chuzuru to take care, hinting at potential in them, as Chuzuru introduces themselves and vows future recompense. Zhao Mingyu reflects on her actions, mentioning she saved someone out of moral obligation and insists it was the least she could do, acknowledging that there might not be another chance. Chuzuru sneers, responding with a comment about betting one's life on future wealth, clearly skeptical of the sincerity behind such motivations. Zhao Mingyu approaches Chu Ziru, bringing a tray of food, and asks if he's angry about her recent actions, addressing him as Your Highness. Chu Ziru questions Zhao Mingyu's intentions, inquiring if her desire to become his Luckbringer was purely for financial gain. Chu Ziru demands an answer from Zhao Mingyu, who obediently replies with a simple affirmation, yes. Chu Ziru assures Zhao Mingyu that she doesn't need to risk her life since he can provide her with all the riches she desires. Zhao Mingyu insists that becoming a substitute is the best way to find the lunar horn despite the risks involved. Smiling, Zhao Mingyu expresses her preference for being his savior over having riches, knowing they may eventually run out. Chu Ziru angrily calls Zhao Mingyu a fool, frustrated by her choices and apparent misunderstanding. Zhao Mingyu tries to calm the situation, stating that they are both simply taking what they need from each other. Chu Ziru slumps, reiterating Zhao Mingyu's point about taking what they need from each other, perhaps unwillingly agreeing. Chu Ziru admits he thought Zhao Mingyu was different, hinting at a sense of disappointment in his expectations. Zhao Mingyu reaches for a plate during the meal, addressing Chu Ziru as Your Highness once more, trying to maintain decorum. Chu Ziru mockingly challenges Zhao Mingyu, telling her to see how long she'll survive as his Luckbringer. Zhao Mingyu bows, excusing herself and being instructed to bring Wuxu to assume her duties, marking a change in responsibilities. Zhao Mingyu is surprised by the abruptness of events, while Chu Ziru recalls her earlier secret revelation, obligating him to grant wealth as promised. The ritual ceremony is depicted, demonstrating the spell binding between His Highness and Zhao Mingyu, linked by the life substitute lock. The process is set in motion to undo the spell and recast it onto Zhao Mingyu, seated in preparation for the ritual transformation. Ritual ceremonies speak to the secrets of the universe, suggesting that everything has its place and purpose since time immemorial. Instruments of the ritual are displayed, with Zhao Mingyu being asked to extend her hand for the process to continue. A drop of blood is requested from Chu Ziru by the elder supervising the ritual, signifying the seriousness of the life-bound contract. A mystical aura surrounds the participants, emphasizing the power of the ritual as it progresses under the night sky. The elder congratulates Chu Ziru on finding his destined Luckbringer, affirming Zhao Mingyu's role as chosen by the heavens. Chu Ziru acknowledges the elder's declaration with a resigned acceptance, though there may be undercurrents of doubt. Chu Ziru expresses a sincere hope that Zhao Mingyu will fulfill her needs as they continue their newfound connection. Zhao Mingyu internally reflects on Chu Ziru's character, remarking on his deceptively charming demeanor. The elder confirms that Zhao Mingyu is now intertwined with Chu Ziru's destiny, emphasizing the gravity of her new role as his life substitute. The scene shifts to Prince Yan's residence, bathed in a mystical glow, setting the stage for the upcoming Hungry Ghost Festival. Zhao Mingyu notes the unexpected chill in the air despite the typically hot season, attributing it to an ominous presence within the residence. Feeling slightly warmer, Zhao Mingyu takes comfort in the small solace amidst an otherwise unsettling atmosphere. Wuxu stands beside Zhao Mingyu, inquiring about her well-being. He appears concerned about her condition, asking how she feels. Zhao Mingyu responds to Wuxu, mentioning that she feels a little cold but is otherwise fine. Her arms are crossed in front of her. Wuxu, in a serious tone, tells Zhao Mingyu that if she can survive the night, she has the chance to change her destiny. His gaze is fixed on her. Zhao Mingyu earnestly requests Wuxu to keep his promise. She asks him not to allow the other Luckbringers into the Tranquility Hall if she manages to survive. Wuxu acknowledges her words, commenting on her kindness. Other attendants anxiously ask Wuxu if the survival of the Highness depends solely on the chosen Luckbringer. Wuxu emphasizes the importance of having other Luckbringers ready, stating that the Highness's life is more valuable than anything else. Zhao Mingyu lights a candle, explaining that the wick is made from yin-yang master talismans. It cannot be extinguished by ordinary evil beings and acts as a danger signal. Zhao Mingyu stands beside a resting Chu Ziyan, expressing her concern about his life. She warns that if he dies, the Emperor will not seek the lunar horn. Zhao Mingyu senses something amiss as the room becomes eerily quiet. She looks around, noting the unsettling silence. Zhao Mingyu, standing beside Chu Ziyan, suddenly asks for forgiveness. Her hand is held up in a gesture of urgency. Chu Ziyan questions Zhao Mingyu's actions as she leans over him, her focus entirely on him. Zhao Mingyu, lifting a cloth, tells Chu Ziyan that there is no time to explain. She insists that if he wants to live, he must not resist. Chu Ziyan, with apparent unease, requests Zhao Mingyu to stop. His hand is placed on his chest. Zhao Mingyu reassures Chu Ziyan, clarifying that she is saving him, not doing anything inappropriate. Her expression is determined. Chu Ziyan, appearing confused, asks Zhao Mingyu about her previous statement. He mentions feeling cold. Zhao Mingyu acknowledges that it is cold but insists Xu Ziyan must endure it for the moment. She covers him with a cloak. Zhao Mingyu mentions the protection of the underworld shield, which can hide anyone from the undead. She bites her thumb as part of the process. Zhao Mingyu invokes the power of the underworld to protect Xu Ziyan's body and shield him from the undead's gaze. Xu Ziyan, bewildered, inquires about Zhao Mingyu's identity. He is visibly concerned as he looks up at her. Zhao Mingyu introduces herself as she reaches out to Xu Ziyan, confidently expressing her name. Xu Ziyan cries out in pain as the magical process unfolds around him. His discomfort is evident. Zhao Mingyu observes Xu Ziyan's reaction, puzzled by his pain. She wonders about the cause. Zhao Mingyu speculates whether Xu Ziyan's pain is linked to his curse, pondering his identity as the incarnation of calamity. Zhao Mingyu asks Xu Ziyan if he is still in pain. Xu Ziyan confirms that he is. Zhao Mingyu urges Xu Ziyan to endure the pain, offering him a candy for comfort. Xu Ziyan, with an upset expression, questions Zhao Mingyu's advice to endure the situation. Xu Ziyan falls to the ground, convulsing as magical energy envelops him. He struggles to find his footing. Zhao Mingyu announces that the protection has taken effect, rendering Xu Ziyan invisible to ghosts. She seems satisfied with the outcome. Zhao Mingyu explains a dire situation to two other individuals, mentioning Lil Gao's ghost. Everyone in the residence is either unconscious or dead, including the director of destinies. Zhao Mingyu recalls details about Lil Gao, a male servant who died because of Prince Yan's curse, showing concern over the situation. Zhao Mingyu instructs Liu Zi to remain seated while emphasizing the urgency of taking the prince away before Lil Gao catches up with them. Mingyu decides to go and carry the prince, asserting her strength, while Kuju seems surprised by her determination. Mingyu questions the prince's absence, stepping further into the room and seeking answers. Kuju confirms that the prince is no longer there, questioning how he managed to leave with Mingyu's luck. Mingyu explains that the director moved the prince to another location for safety reasons, showing concern about potential danger. Mingyu suggests finding Liu Zi for help, mentioning another person who is currently looking after the prince. Kuishu is startled, and together with Mingyu, they search for Xu Ziyan's whereabouts. A spirit named Lil Gao appears menacingly, demanding to know where Xu Ziyan is. Lil Gao, holding a floating object, reiterates the demand, threatening them to speak or die. He repeats his threat, directing it at Kuishu as she recoils in fear. Mingyu decides to talk, trying to calm the situation as Kuishu stands beside her, visibly distressed. She admits not knowing the location's name but offers to guide them there, attempting to appease Lil Gao. Kuishu quietly asks Mingyu what their next step should be as they stand behind Lil Gao. Mingyu is deep in thought, contemplating a strategy as she acknowledges the danger encircling them. They arrive at the northern garden, where the director mentioned Xu Ziyan should be, guided by the spirit. Lil Gao orders them to retrieve Xu Ziyan, and after a moment of hesitation, they comply. An assortment of exorcist tools catches Mingyu's attention as she scans the room. Kuishu suggests hiding until sunrise, believing ghosts disappear with daylight, but Mingyu opposes the idea. Confronted with their limited options, Kuishu questions their next steps while sitting with Mingyu. Mingyu knows Kuishu and Lil Gao are linked, pondering over Prince Yan's condition, and considers handing him over. Determined, Mingyu examines the exorcist items for later use, considering what might be helpful. They find Prince Yan in bed, deciding it is time to hand him over. Kuishu checks the bed and finds Prince Yan missing, expressing her alarm. Mingyu doubts Kuishu's claim and insists on seeing him, trying to understand the situation. Mingyu explains the invisibility spell placed on the prince, wondering why Kuishu claims not to see him. Kuishu reassures Mingyu, blaming her earlier statement on fear as Mingyu plans their next move. They realize Lil Gao can't see the prince either, fearing he will think they're lying and deliberating their course of action. Mingyu decides to undo the spell with Kuishu's help, focusing on survival over caution. Kuishu, frustrated with the rash decision, reacts to Mingyu's plan, branding it foolish. Kuishu, now distressed, questions what Mingyu did, visibly shaken. Tearfully, Kuishu asks why Mingyu is targeting her, marked by betrayal and confusion. Zhao Mingyu feels betrayed by the person she trusted and accuses them of deception, her aura igniting with intense anger as she confronts her foe. Her fury escalates, and with a gesture, she aims to unleash her wrath, yelling for her opponent to face retribution. Surprised by a revelation, Zhao Mingyu discovers her adversary is a yin-yang master. She dismisses this discovery as unimportant to her current aim. Overwhelmed by her own power, a burst of energy surrounds Zhao Mingyu as she propels herself through the air, taking charge of her attack. Zhao Mingyu, exhausted from the confrontation, hears someone expressing relief that the chaos seems to have subsided. Defiant and unyielding, she declares her strength, questioning the possibility of being easily defeated, showing she's still ready to fight. A monstrous presence looms behind her as she declares that any attempt to defeat her is futile due to the multiple spirits sharing her body. The realization hits the observer, who notes that Zhao Mingyu houses 4 ghostly entities, making her an immensely powerful opponent. A new concern arises over the intense reaction of the life substitute lock, suggesting something may have happened to Chu Ziyan. Determined and unafraid, the observer raises their weapon to combat evil, firmly resolved not to perish in this battle. Surprise flickers as the observer wonders if their powers have somehow returned to them during the encounter. A confrontation is underway as Zhao Mingyu demands her opponent leave, offering to spare their life in return for retreat. In a moment of reflection, the observer questions if they truly understand what poses the real threat to them. Shock spreads across the scene with the arrival of an enigmatic figure wearing a ghost mask, instantly recognizing the masked person's identity. A tense atmosphere fills the air as the observer suggests a peaceful negotiation, attempting to approach the masked figure calmly. The masked person swiftly picks up the observer, dismissing their protest with ease, showing their disregard for the protest. Pleading for mercy, the observer offers their usefulness to the masked figure, who counters with a chilling request that involves Chu Ziyan. The observer speculates on the masked person's potential vendetta against Chu Ziyan, contemplating the implications of this request. The masked individual, holding power, asks if the observer is incapable of carrying out the task, releasing them from their grip. Observing the situation, the observer suggests that eliminating Chu Ziyan would be simple, subtly agreeing to prove their worth. Contemplating their situation, the observer considers whether following the masked figure could aid them in locating the lunar horn. The masked figure expresses curiosity towards the observer's potential, prompting a subordinate to alert them of someone approaching. An encounter with an authority begins as they question Zhao Mingyu's whereabouts and the location of the prince, accusing her of being in the wrong place. Zhao Mingyu is surprised to hear the prince is not at his assumed location, having believed he was secure when she last saw him. A soldier reports finding the prince unconscious, indicating his vulnerability, while the elder commends the observer's actions in addressing the threat. Bewildered, the observer feigns ignorance about purifying the evil energy, acting as though the process is unfamiliar to them. The elder expresses gratitude for the observer's surprising fortuity, implying that some external force must be aiding them. The observer inquires about the status of an absent servant, learning of their current location and the process of safely relocating them. Left in solitude, the observer reflects on their friend's fate, pondering their own path and expressing doubt about finding their way back. Awakening in their chamber, the observer is startled by the presence of a small, mischievous creature they refer to as Lil Snowball, urging it to retreat. Zhao Mingyu is startled on her bed when Yan Quarters enters her room unexpected. She questions his presence with concern, addressing him as His Highness, appearing confused and caught off guard by his sudden entrance. As Zhao Mingyu attempts to get up, she clumsily trips over Yan Quarters, amusingly noting that if this were a drama, it would appear as though she's about to fall onto his lips. Yan Quarters finds himself beneath Zhao Mingyu, who is embarrassed about failing to kiss him and instead causing him a nosebleed, feeling awkward due to the mishap. Zhao Mingyu apologizes to Yan Quarters for her unintentional actions, explaining she didn't mean any harm, while Yan Quarters lies on the floor accepting her apology. Yan Quarters accuses Zhao Mingyu of her wrongdoing, but she defensively insists that she had no such intentions. Yan Quarters inquires if Zhao Mingyu regrets becoming his luckbringer due to potential dangers, but Zhao Mingyu seems unaware of any such hazards. Yan Quarters feels uncertain after noticing Zhao Mingyu's laughter, who finds amusement in the situation and apologizes, claiming he looks funny. Yan Quarters, visibly annoyed, tells Zhao Mingyu he didn't permit laughter as he coughs while Zhao Mingyu tries to stifle her giggles. Zhao Mingyu assists Yan Quarters in standing and wonders if he's upset because she accidentally saw his body, showing concern for his feelings. In an attempt to resolve the matter, Zhao Mingyu suggests showing her body to Yan Quarters to make things even, prompting him to question the logic behind her offer. Zhao Mingyu confidently assumes Yan Quarters might lack something she has, while he questions the reason behind his perceived anger. Yan Quarters accuses Zhao Mingyu of being excessively happy, but she denies it, claiming she wouldn't dare to express joy in such a situation. Zhao Mingyu addresses the misconception of being happy with material wealth, clarifying that risking her life isn't justified for riches alone. Zhao Mingyu admits she likes money but values Yan Quarters more, leaving him to dismiss the sentiment with a simple humph. Zhao Mingyu questions Yan Quarters about his possible embarrassment, which he adamantly denies as being impossible. Zhao Mingyu expresses her hope for Yan Quarters' forgiveness, assuring him he is broad-minded and should understand her position. Zhao Mingyu questions Yan Quarter's presence, suggesting he should rest, while he explains his intent to find Lil Snowball. Having found the cat, Zhao Mingyu gently holds Lil Snowball, acknowledging Yan Quarter's reason, as he seems embarrassed. Yan Quarters, with curiosity, asks Zhao Mingyu to explain how she acquired her yin-yang powers, intrigued by her abilities. Zhao Mingyu becomes concerned about the nature of her powers, questioning if they are considered bad. Yan Quarters reassures Zhao Mingyu that her powers aren't bad, but remarks on her extensive knowledge despite her vagabond past. Zhao Mingyu explains how she gained her knowledge from a wandering yin-yang master, providing insight into her past. Yan Quarters reflects on his recovery from illness, sharing with Zhao Mingyu that his life has become more exciting. Yan Quarters decides to teach Zhao Mingyu to be a yin-yang master herself, promising to include reading and writing in her lessons. Shocked by the prospect of learning so much, Zhao Mingyu humorously protests the overwhelming idea. Zhao Mingyu reflects on her pre-existing knowledge and the irony of having to relearn everything once again. Determined and inspired by the lunar horn, Zhao Mingyu resolves to persevere through her new learning journey. Hearing a knock at the door, Zhao Mingyu is alert, getting ready for an event or activity prompting urgency. Standing outside, Zhao Mingyu contemplates that Yan Quarters must be delaying deliberately with an air of fun behind it. Zhao Mingyu begins to walk briskly, her movements characterized by a small bell on her ankle that jingles with each step. Zhao Mingyu holds up a notebook, responding to Yan Quarters' question about remembering the words he taught her the day before. She stands with determination, ready to impress him with her recall. Yan Quarters, seated comfortably, suggests that Mingyu try writing his name, showing his confidence in her learning abilities as he looks at her expectantly. Mingyu, holding a brush, announces with enthusiasm that she has completed the task. She remarks on how being illiterate should make it fine if she gets it wrong, suggesting she doesn't mind mistakes as much. Yan Quarters gently points out that Mingyu has written it wrong. His calm demeanor contrasts with her expectation of doing well, yet he seems patient still. Apologetically, Mingyu admits she feels too stupid and apologizes, looking troubled by her mistake, showing her insecurity in her abilities. Yan Quarters encourages her, explaining that practice makes perfect. He sets her the task of writing Yan 100 times, hoping repetition will aid her learning process. Shocked, Mingyu reacts strongly to the notion of having to write the name 100 times, her surprise evident as she questions the task. With a lighthearted smile, Yan Quarters explains that a strict teacher makes an excellent student, urging her to start right away, his intention to motivate her clear. Mingyu, sitting at a table with a scroll laid out, states the requirement for Yan Quarters to finish his Pier's suit too, playfully shifting focus to his obligations. As she continues her task, Mingyu comments on Yan Quarters' narcissism, questioning whether it's common in royalty, a hint of humor in her observation. While writing, Mingyu turns to Yan Quarters, asking why he enjoys making others write his name so much, showing her curiosity regarding his teaching methods. Yan Quarters responds plainly that he does not take enjoyment from it, providing a straightforward insight into his demeanor and intentions. Mingyu counters, expressing exasperation that despite his claim, he keeps making her write his name, revealing her growing frustration. Yan Quarters calmly explains that he only requires this from her, suggesting it's a unique interaction between them, hinting at a personal connection. Mingyu, deep in thought, notes that while Chuzian lacks friends, animals seem naturally attracted to him, pondering the contradiction. Mingyu presents her finished work to Yan Quarters, who examines it. She confidently confirms she's completed the task he set for her. Yan Quarters declares that because she offended him with her gaze, she must write his name another 20 times, demonstrating a teasing side. In disbelief, Mingyu considers the navy of animals that like Yan Quarters. Her amazement at their fondness for him highlights her confusion about his personality. The view of the palace shows an expansive and majestic setting, establishing the grand location where the events unfold. Su Wanrong, dressed in elegant attire, stands by a window and inquires about the situation, curious about the ongoing matters within their surroundings. The disguised figure reports to Su Wanrong that the 15th day of the 7th month has passed, knowing Prince Yan's continued well-being, implying a failed plan. Su Wanrong, perplexed, remarks on Prince Yan's survival, her shock indicating an unexpected outcome, thus intensifying the mystery. Determined, Su Wanrong commands the figure to find the person who foiled her plan, her resolve clear in her authoritative stance. The figure acknowledges the command, agreeing to carry out her orders, the loyalty evident in the straightforward response. A line of servants carrying packages walks through Prince Yan's residence, indicating a significant delivery or event about to take place. Yan Quarters stands with attendants as he is informed that the pastries were specially prepared for him by the Imperial kitchen, suggesting a gesture of honor. Yan Quarters invites Mingyu to taste the pastries and discern the most delicious among them, involving her in the decision process. Mingyu, enjoying the treat, exclaims about the deliciousness of one pastry, her enthusiasm for the food evident in her happy response. Yan Quarters, with a playful demeanor, requests Mingyu to feed him, showing a lighthearted interaction between them. Yan Quarters gestures generously, indicating that Mingyu can have the entire table to herself, displaying his kind and sharing nature. Two men are speaking about the heaven's chosen luckbringer, expressing admiration for his vitality and enduring presence by the prince's side. The man in a headband abruptly silences his companion, indicating impatience or anger. The man with the headband addresses the prince, informing him of an invitation to the palace for a festival portrait session. Yan Quarters considers the Mid-Autumn Festival invitation and decides to attend, inviting Zhao Mingyu to accompany him. Zhao Mingyu is excited and intrigued, having never visited an ancient palace before. A man reminds Zhao Mingyu of the responsibilities as the prince's luckbringer, including a meeting with the heaven's chosen luckbringer. Yan Quarters offers Zhao Mingyu to stay in his room, leading to confusion and curiosity. Zhao Mingyu is anxious about what Yan Quarters knows, concerned about a potential revelation. Yan Quarters clarifies his intention to teach palace etiquette, putting Zhao Mingyu at ease. Meixun Lan stands alongside Yan Quarters as they prepare for a lesson in ceremonial propriety. Zhao Mingyu arrives, feeling bewildered and slightly overwhelmed by the situation. Zhao Mingyu, exhausted from practice, pleads for a break as it's already past midnight. Yan Quarters instructs Zhao Mingyu to maintain proper posture when addressing the emperor, emphasizing respect. Zhao Mingyu nervously greets an imagined emperor, trying to follow the etiquette being taught. Yan Quarters sternly questions Zhao Mingyu, implying the possibility of punishment for mistakes. A humble gesture of greeting is performed towards Yan Quarters, showcasing respect for his status. Zhao Mingyu repeats the respectful greeting, showing determination to adhere to etiquette rules. Yan Quarters praises Zhao Mingyu's effort and reminds about the importance of remembering palace etiquette, which comforts Zhao Mingyu. Zhao Mingyu, cheerful, waves from a carriage while noticing a child holding candied haws. Yan Quarters inquires if Zhao Mingyu wants the candied haws, displaying a thoughtful demeanor. Yan Quarters admits to desiring the candied haws, revealing his softer side with a smirk. Zhao Mingyu, smiling brightly, decides to buy candied haws immediately, expressing happiness. In the carriage, the guards note that Zhao Mingyu is the only companion of the prince, with some surprise about the candied haws. A guard speculates humorously about Zhao Mingyu's interest in the candied haws, with a hint of disbelief. Zhao Mingyu is frustrated, feeling restricted because Yan Quarters hasn't allowed the purchase of candied haws. Yan Quarters, amused, gives in and presents Zhao Mingyu with the candied haws, ending the sulk. Zhao Mingyu delightfully enjoys the treat, savoring the sweetness and expressing satisfaction. Concerned for health, Zhao Mingyu hesitates to continue eating, reflecting thoughtful consideration. Yan Quarters questions Zhao Mingyu's memory of the etiquette lesson, implying the importance of every aspect. Zhao Mingyu straightens up, determined to continue despite the challenge of maintaining proper decorum while eating. Wu Xu remarks on the taste of the candied haws, noting how sweet they are. Zhao Mingyu is surprised and reminds Wu Xu about his status as a prince, questioning why he is eating her half-eaten snack. Wu Xu reflects on how he didn't properly teach Zhao Mingyu enough the previous night. An aerial view of Golden Autumn Hall is shown, mentioning that they are staying in a place called Serenity Court. Zhao Mingyu sees Chu Ziru and Chu Zixi approaching, getting her attention. Chu Ziru compliments Zhao Ziyan for looking lively and jokes that he no longer looks like a lifeless corpse. Zhao Ziyan finds Chu Ziru's humor as persistent as ever. Chu Zixi, addressed by his brother, notes something about the interaction. Chu Zixi advises Chu Ziru against speaking poorly about Zhao Ziyan, considering that Ziyan visits the palace infrequently. Wu Xu greets Chu Zixi respectfully, referring to him by his royal title. Chu Zixi tells Wu Xu that there's no need for formality between brothers, though Wu Xu maintains that etiquette should always be observed. Zhao Mingyu internally notes that the third prince isn't easily swayed, while the crown prince appears to be protective of Chu Ziyan. Wu Xu decides to leave, stating he won't take more of their time. Chu Ziru responds dismissively. Chu Zixi suggests Wu Xu accompany him to meet painter Kai Xufeng, who is creating a portrait and will soon paint Wu Xu's. Wu Xu excuses himself, claiming he isn't feeling well. Chu Zixi notes in his thoughts that Wu Xu looks healthier recently and credits Zhao Mingyu as a possible cause, entertaining the idea of the child's positive influence. Wu Xu moves ahead, suggesting they proceed to view the paintings despite his apparent indifference. Zhao Mingyu wonders if Chu Zixi is using her as leverage over Wu Xu and hurries closer. Chu Zixi introduces painter Kai Xufeng, who is acclaimed for his magical brushstrokes bringing paintings to life. Wu Xu acknowledges the talent produced by the Sage Academy, attributing it to Kai Xufeng's skills. Chu Ziru, surprised by Wu Xu's knowledge, teases him for understanding the artist's reputation even though it's well known as that her father's praise has spread far. Zhao Mingyu contemplates silently, discerning the contrasting demeanor of the princes toward Chu Zian, open hostility from the third prince, and subtle intentions from the crown prince. Wu Xu addresses Mingyu, who replies to his call. Wu Xu speaks to the group, expressing a need to leave due to unwellness despite viewing the paintings. Zhao Mingyu is nearby. Chu Ziru questions whether they'll let Wu Xu leave without protest, pointing out the presence of his supposed luck-bringer. Chu Zixi walks away, commenting on needing to stir the situation further, while Chu Ziru considers the implications. Zhao Mingyu expresses concern about being a potential target, considering the relevance she has to Wu Xu. Wu Xu reveals his lineage and the political dynamics that led Chu Zixi to become crown prince after the change in imperial consorts. Zhao Mingyu realizes the facade of brotherly care was all pretense. Wu Xu reflects on his status as a jinx, surprised by Chu Zixi's warm treatment toward him despite that. Zhao Mingyu insists on leaving after the banquet concludes, recognizing the situation's complexity beyond simple departures. A servant announces to Wu Xu that the crown prince calls for Zhao Mingyu, indicating the crown prince's wish to speak with him. Zhao Mingyu is surprised, questioning the reason behind the crown prince's summons. Wu Xu politely responds to the messenger, explaining Zhao Mingyu is unwell and requests understanding. Zhao Mingyu reminds Wu Xu that rejecting the crown prince's invitation after their recent meeting might be inappropriate. Wu Xu insists with determination that Zhao Mingyu must follow through with the discussion, leaving no room for debate. Zhao Mingyu agrees to comply with Wu Xu's decision, admitting defeat. Zhao Mingyu decides to prepare pure soup for Wu Xu, requesting them to wait while she does so. Zhao Mingyu considers meeting the crown prince to uncover his intentions. While Zhao Mingyu rushes through the corridor, a servant offers to lead the way. The scene shifts to the skyscraper tower with the crown prince waiting in contemplation. Zhao Mingyu realizes she and the crown prince are alone, prompting a moment of hesitation. The crown prince greets Zhao Mingyu with formal courtesy. Zhao Mingyu responds, noting her familiarity with the crown prince, suggesting formality isn't necessary. Zhao Mingyu inquires about the reason for the crown prince's summons. The crown prince reminisces about this location being Chu Zian's childhood refuge. Zhao Mingyu finds it hard to imagine the crown prince's past as a child. The crown prince explains Chu Zian's solitary nature due to childhood illness and limited interaction. Zhao Mingyu argues that the crown prince is kind and caring towards the servants. The crown prince teases Zhao Mingyu about her admiration, and she admits the crown prince is her savior. Zhao Mingyu internally questions the sincerity of her previous statement, finding it overly dramatic. The crown prince claps, calling for the retrieval of prepared items for Zhao Mingyu. The crown prince invites Zhao Mingyu to make herself at home, thanking her on behalf of Zian. Zhao Mingyu marvels at the crown prince's friendliness, questioning if this is common among ancient princes. The crown prince introduces a fine wine from the Tibetan Empire, encouraging Zhao Mingyu to taste it. Zhao Mingyu nervously declines, admitting her poor tolerance for alcohol. The crown prince reassures her, mentioning the wine is mild and suitable for a young taste. Zhao Mingyu struggles to stay awake after consuming the wine, but insists on persisting. The crown prince expresses frustration, believing Zhao Mingyu's meddling spared Chu Zian from death. The crown prince vows to orchestrate an accident for Zhao Mingyu due to her loyalty to Chu Zian. The crown prince calls out for guards with urgency. He expresses impatience over the guards' delayed response. Yan Quarters accuses the emperor of scheming as usual, addressing him with sarcasm and hints of underlying conflict. The emperor appears surprised by Yan Quarters' rapid arrival, acknowledging it was unexpected. Yan Quarters explains that if not for his timely intervention, there would have been a tragedy due to someone's drunkenness. The emperor casually dismisses Yan Quarters' concern, claiming he simply intended to provide Zhao Mingyu safe passage. Yan Quarters warns the emperor to never touch a certain individual again, standing firm and confrontationally. Zhao Mingyu teases Yan Quarters by poking his cheek and commenting on its softness, calling him grandpa. The emperor, facing away, reflects on the fierceness of Prince Yan as someone nearby laments the situation. The emperor coldly commands his subordinate to prepare for self-extermination, who obediently accepts. Zhao Mingyu continues to tease Yan Quarters about the smoothness of his skin, commenting lightheartedly. Growing impatient, Yan Quarters asks if Zhao Mingyu will cease her playful antics. Zhao Mingyu hugs Yan Quarters from behind, persistently rubbing against him despite his irritation. Yan Quarters becomes upset with Zhao Mingyu for meeting the crown prince without informing him. Zhao Mingyu seems confused, realizing she unintentionally drank too much, surprised to see the emperor. Yan Quarters is seeking his peer soup, asking Zhao Mingyu about its whereabouts. Zhao Mingyu nervously admits an accident occurred, vaguely implying something unfortunate about the peer soup. Yan Quarters confronts Zhao Mingyu, questioning whether her meeting with the crown prince was truly accidental. Zhao Mingyu apologizes to Yan Quarters, showing repentance. Yan Quarters accuses Zhao Mingyu of consistently justifying her actions, prompting her to deny it. Yan Quarters walks away, reflecting on Zhao Mingyu's consistent resoluteness and her unwillingness to change. Zhao Mingyu challenges Yan Quarters on whether she has ever been treated as his master, provoking his anger. Yan Quarters coughs in frustration while Zhao Mingyu appears bewildered by the situation. Yan Quarters accuses Zhao Mingyu of drinking to extract information about the crown prince, unaware of the potency of the wine. Yan Quarters asks if Zhao Mingyu harbors a death wish, making her vow not to repeat her actions. Yan Quarters questions Zhao Mingyu's intentions, leading her to promise obedience and heed his guidance. Yan Quarters warmly smiles, reminding Zhao Mingyu to keep her promise. Zhao Mingyu quietly admires Yan Quarters' attractive appearance and charismatic smile. Yan Quarters is curious about how long Zhao Mingyu will remain by his side. The next day, Yan Quarters confirms that the princess invited Zhao Mingyu to view paintings. Zhao Mingyu is puzzled by the invitation due to her cursed status, and Yan Quarters stops to listen. Zhao Mingyu quickly apologizes for her candid remark, following Yan Quarters with exaggerated steps. Ziliu reflects on the events of yesterday, feeling a sense of satisfaction over the outcome. Ziliu observes the intrigue unfolding and suspects an ulterior motive behind the invitation. Chuzuru invites someone named Xian to come and look at some paintings, indicating an atmosphere of cultural engagement. Xian reaches out towards another character, while Ziliu wonders how he can behave as if nothing has happened. Wuxu offers his cloak to Ziliu, advising her to stay warm in the chilly environment. Chuzuru mentions the cold weather to Ziliu, suggesting she take extra care. Wuxu proposes to Xian that they should go in to view the paintings, maintaining a pleasant demeanor. Ziliu, puzzled, questions what Wuxu meant by calling Xian a good boy as they walk away. In frustration, Ziliu steps forward, retorting internally about not being treated like a child. Princess Ziliu is introduced holding a handheld mirror, radiating a sense of authority and elegance. Chuzuru mentions Xian's turn to view the paintings will come after Ziliu is done, establishing a sense of order. Ziliu expresses annoyance about Wuxu's presence and considers him bad luck. Ziliu internally reflects on Chuzian's popularity, which seems contrary to her expectations. Ziliu makes an urgent plea to leave the area immediately, showing determination in her stance. Wuxu coughs and Ziliu expresses concern about the negative energy in the environment, suggesting they leave. Princess Ziliu vehemently denies the claim of negative energy in her residence, defending its atmosphere. Wuxu decides to leave first, indicating a slight weariness, supported by Ziliu. Princess Ziliu grumbles to herself about Prince Yan's arrogance, visibly frustrated. Chuzuru calls for calm in the room, asserting his presence in the discussion. In the Empress's quarters, Matron Lan is seen tending to a plant, an indication of serene domesticity. Matron Lan acknowledges the presence of someone with a respectful bow and greeting. The Empress inquires about recent findings from Matron Lan, holding a flower elegantly. Matron Lan reports the closeness between Prince Yan and his companion, noting their shared carriage ride. There's a revelation about Prince Yan defending his companion from the Crown Prince's attempts. The Empress finds it surprising that Prince Yan shows care for someone, considering it advantageous. The Empress orders Matron Lan to remain vigilant in Prince Yan's residence without making any rash movements. Wuxu discusses a martial art that overcomes attacks, recognizing His Highness as a Tai Chi master while strolling outside. Wuxu acknowledges and confirms the compliment given by Ziliu, keeping a composed demeanor. Ziliu appears concerned, asking if the princes and princesses have always treated Wuxu kindly. Wuxu recounts a tragic event from his birth, where unlucky occurrences surrounded him from the start. Zhao Mingyu walks alongside Yan Quarters, commenting on why others fear him, but noting that the Crown Prince seems unfazed. Yan Quarters explains that the Crown Prince's maternal lineage includes Yang Masters, possessing a magical jade known as the Brahma Jade capable of repelling evil forces. He further elaborates that with this jade, the Crown Prince is safeguarded even from the fiercest evil beings. Zhao Mingyu inquires about the Empress and her treatment toward Yan Quarters. Yan Quarters cryptically tells Zhao Mingyu that all will be clear at the Mid-Autumn family feast, making a swift exit. Zhao Mingyu follows him, frustrated by his vague responses and asking him not to keep her guessing. The next day, Yan Quarters is set to undertake a task that involves writing or drawing with assistants nearby, marking the beginning of a new day. Inside a room, Chu Ziyan enters and questions what's happening as the furniture is in disarray. Zhao Mingyu accuses Chu Ziyan of wrongdoing, claiming his unruly servant keeps interfering. Yan Quarters suggests Chu Ziyan might not be offended, given his forgiving nature, while Zhao Mingyu feels slighted. Chu Ziyan, smiling, questions Yan Quarters about avoiding him, to which Yan Quarters admits fear of transferring bad luck. Chu Ziyan dismisses the concern, saying that's a minor issue as evil entities shun him, while questioning the Brahma Jade's power. Chu Ziyan confidently shares that his mother enhanced the jade with sacred figs for extra protection against evil. Chu Ziyan invites Yan Quarters to view a portrait, with Mingyu expressing surprise that they would go together. As they leave, Zhao Mingyu is called upon by Yan Quarters to fix a broken chair. Zhao Mingyu reluctantly repairs the chair, questioning if such actions are genuinely needed. After fixing the chair, Zhao Mingyu waits outside, calling Chu Ziyan a jerk for making her do it. Inside, Chu Ziyan critiques the artist Kai Xufan for being unable to capture Prince Yan's essence despite his reputation. Kai Xufan admits feeling unable to depict Prince Yan's grace and beauty. Chu Ziyan suggests Kai Xufan take a break and resume the work later, while Zhao Mingyu watches from afar with annoyance. Zhao Mingyu confronts Chu Ziyan angrily for dishonoring her, which results in an intense standoff. Yan Quarters scolds Zhao Mingyu for her disrespect, leaving her questioning his meaning. Yan Quarters warns Zhao Mingyu that she won't be punished solely due to her perceived status as Heaven's Chosen. Zhao Mingyu apologizes and hastily departs, suggesting the two can continue their conversation. Later at night, Zhao Mingyu finds herself reflecting on her interactions with Chu Ziyan, feeling unappreciated despite her efforts. She stumbles across an eerie residence, questioning its chill and creepiness. Suddenly, she bumps into someone and is startled by what appears to be a ghost. The person she bumped into speaks of a past benevolent consort who feels strangled nightly at the cold palace and once set herself on fire. Zhao Mingyu is alarmed by the story and insists she cannot stay in an area haunted by spirits. Zhao Mingyu, determined, seems to ready herself for action, leaving the person nearby puzzled about her intentions. Wuxu holds Zhao Mingyu's hand, suggesting they return for dinner after being outside the entire afternoon. The scene is set in a serene, starry evening. Zhao Mingyu refuses, claiming her anger has made her lose her appetite, while freeing her hand from Wuxu's grasp. Wuxu acknowledges Zhao Mingyu's insolence, noting that only she would dare to speak so boldly to him. Wuxu reassures Zhao Mingyu that they won't be encountering the Crown Prince soon. Zhao Mingyu questions if Wuxu plans to confront him. Wuxu playfully wonders aloud about Zhao Mingyu's thoughts as she reacts animatedly, clutching her hat to her head. Zhao Mingyu reflects that she'll have to uncover Wuxu's intentions at another time as they continue walking together. The Prosperity Palace is depicted, bustling with attendants preparing for a mid-autumn feast. Chu Ziru inquires about the Crown Prince's illness, causing Chu Zixi to cough as they discuss the situation. Wuxu comments that it's natural for humans to fall ill, dismissing concerns over the Crown Prince. Chu Ziru smiles, suggesting skepticism about Wuxu's indirect implication of jinxing the Crown Prince's health. Zhao Mingyu challenges the idea that her master is a jinx, questioning why Chu Ziru remains unaffected. Chu Ziru is enraged by Zhao Mingyu's defiance, but Chu Zixi intervenes, suggesting they move on. Wuxu instructs Zhao Mingyu to wait for him in the gazebo, promising to meet her there later. Zhao Mingyu awaits Wuxu at the gazebo, contemplating a festive evening and longing for familiar comforts she has been missing. Gazing at the moon, Zhao Mingyu reflects on her distant family and friends, wondering about their well-being under the same moonlight. Zhao Mingyu, feeling disconnected, reminisces about her past actions and the home she can't return to. Zhao Mingyu sits wiping her eyes, expressing surprise at Wuxu's early arrival before she expected the feast to be over. Wuxu wishes Zhao Mingyu a happy birthday with the gift of a pendant, revealing foresight about her special day. Wuxu refers to Zhao Mingyu as a shining moon in front of him, appreciating her presence over gifts. Zhao Mingyu questions Wuxu's words internally, contemplating whether it's a confession. Zhao Mingyu, startled, seeks clarification from Wuxu about his earlier statement. Wuxu clarifies he meant the moon's light is enough, prompting Zhao Mingyu to internally scold herself for misinterpreting. Wuxu inquires slyly about what Zhao Mingyu was thinking, leaving her speechless. Zhao Mingyu, teasing, claims ownership of the moonlight pendant, declaring Wuxu cannot take it back. Wuxu comments that the moon's light shines in Zhao Mingyu's eyes, catching her attention. Zhao Mingyu suggests Wuxu could easily charm others if he wanted, appreciating his charisma. Wuxu is curious about the term lady killer, learning from Zhao Mingyu that it refers to charming men. Wuxu appreciates the fitting name but playfully notes that Zhao Mingyu doesn't qualify as a lady. Wuxu reminisces about a past reading partner who shared his aspirations but suffered due to princely politics. The narrative reveals the unjust imprisonment and exile of Wuxu's friend's family, painting a somber image of betrayal. Zhao Mingyu confronts Chu Ziyan about the palace spies always surrounding him, questioning the sincerity of his earlier harsh scolding. Chu Ziyan reassures Zhao Mingyu about his concerns, acknowledging her fear of getting hurt while reflecting on past actions under the moonlight. Chu Ziyan admits he expected her to understand his feelings of powerlessness, showing vulnerability. Zhao Mingyu talks about placing expectations on others and reflects on emotions of guilt, nostalgia, love, and hate being in their minds. Chu Ziyan acknowledges Zhao Mingyu's open-mindedness, but questions how much she really knows about him, to which she jokes about her knowledge. Zhao Mingyu admits she was the one who brought him food, confessing she can write and has yin-yang powers. Chu Ziyan seems unsurprised by her confession as Zhao Mingyu insists she's not doing it just to obtain the lunar horn. Zhao Mingyu sheepishly confesses to spying on Chu Ziyan while he was bathing, catching him off guard. Chu Ziyan, flustered, is reassured by Zhao Mingyu, who reminds him of her intention to save him during a difficult time. Chu Ziyan declares he's not shy but demands to know her true motives, as Zhao Mingyu confesses she likes him. Fireworks are seen in the night sky while Zhao Mingyu feels tuned upon realizing the impact of her admission. Zhao Mingyu clarifies her confession, saying she enjoys being friends with Chu Ziyan, forming a new bond. Chu Ziyan suggests returning home because farewell has been made, but Zhao Mingyu hesitates as the portrait is unfinished. Zhao Mingyu assures Chu Ziyan that Mr. K will continue working on the portrait, indicating they can leave now. Chu Ziyan and Zhao Mingyu notice something unusual as armored guards approach them with urgency. The Empress arrives with her entourage, triggering a tense atmosphere among the gathered guards. The Empress accuses Zhao Mingyu of causing misfortune to the Crown Prince, pointing fingers in anger. Chu Ziyan, bewildered, demands clarification from the Empress amidst the chaotic confrontation. The Empress commands the guards to punish Zhao Mingyu, her authority looming over the situation. Chu Ziyan boldly steps up to shield Zhao Mingyu, challenging the Empress and addressing her accusations. Chu Ziyan argues he cannot be a prince if he can't protect his people, confronting the Empress about her claims. The Empress, convinced of Zhao Mingyu's guilt regarding the Brahma Jade, commands the guards to arrest them. In a sudden struggle, Zhao Mingyu and Chu Ziyan find themselves on the ground, checking on each other's well-being. Zhao Mingyu reassures Chu Ziyan she is fine, but worries arise as she notices something alarming. Zhao Mingyu panics as she realizes they took away the life substitute lock, emphasizing the urgency due to the 15th night. Chu Ziyan, with a resolve, acknowledges Mingyu as his only remaining ally, instructing her not to forget him. Zhao Mingyu implores their bond, expressing willingness to sacrifice equally if anything happens to Chu Ziyan. Zhao Mingyu muses about having idle thoughts during a dangerous situation, surprised by the situation. Chu Ziyan respects Zhao Mingyu's decision to stand by him, appreciating her unwavering support. Zhao Mingyu assures Chu Ziyan of her capability as an amateur yin-yang master, while he urges her to prioritize her safety. Zhao Mingyu and Wuxu are in a dimly lit cell, discussing the Empress's accusation against Wuxu regarding the Crown Prince's Brahma Jade. Wuxu speculates about a possible bigger plot behind this accusation. Zhao Mingyu thinks about seeking help from the director of Destinies and suggests contacting him. She tells Wuxu that if he manages to escape, he should run as far as possible. Zhao Mingyu tells Wuxu to stop being so pessimistic and nudges him playfully with her elbow. Zhao Mingyu turns suddenly, as if hearing something while standing at the jail bars, showing her concern for the situation. Wuxu collapses and Zhao Mingyu catches him, expressing her worry as she holds him and assesses the dire situation. Zhao Mingyu bites her finger, using her blood to activate the underworld shield. She directs Wuxu to stay hidden within its protection. Zhao Mingyu faces away from Wuxu as he lays protected. She expresses her resolve with a straightforward no to whatever unseen threat approaches. With determination, Zhao Mingyu turns toward the unseen adversary, inviting them to confront her, ready for whatever may come. Zhao Mingyu walks alone in the palace courtyard, reflecting on how she informed the director to avert the evil energy crisis, but Wuxu remains wrongfully imprisoned. Under the moonlight, Zhao Mingyu vows to uncover the truth and save Wuxu from his unjust predicament. Zhao Mingyu makes her way to the Eastern Palace, aware of the tight security. She plans to avoid the guards' patrol routes to remain undetected. Finding a moment of opportunity, Zhao Mingyu decides to quickly investigate, ensuring the coast is clear before entering. Inside the palace, Zhao Mingyu is shocked to find the crown prince in a dire state, questioning what has happened to him. Zhao Mingyu notices a painting on the wall, realizing that it seems different than before, almost as if it has come to life. Someone approaches, startling Zhao Mingyu. She greets the presence behind her with respect, alert to their arrival. Hiding, Zhao Mingyu realizes the Empress is likely sensitive to evil energy due to her lineage as she recalls the Empress's origins. The Emperor enters with the Empress, their regal presence evident as they appear in the room, commanding attention. Zhao Mingyu reveals herself to the Emperor and Empress, explaining her presence in the Eastern Palace as she moves closer. The Empress, angry, demands to know how Zhao Mingyu dared escape prison and confronts her with suspicion in the Eastern Palace. Zhao Mingyu pleads with the Empress, insisting that someone intends to harm the crown prince, and that blaming Wuxu will achieve nothing. The Empress argues that Wuxu has caused harm to many and defends her stance by referencing the death of the benevolent consort. The Emperor intervenes, suggesting they listen to what Zhao Mingyu has to say, placing his trust in her story. Zhao Mingyu challenges the Empress, pointing out the peculiarities of the painting and questioning the evidence about the consort's death. The Emperor shows interest in the painting and its unusual scent as Zhao Mingyu prompts him to consider its altered appearance. The Empress remains defiant, accusing Zhao Mingyu of concocting stories to clear Wuxu's name as she approaches threateningly. A tense face-off ensues between Zhao Mingyu and the Empress, intensified by a backdrop of stormy weather and lightning. Zhao Mingyu beseeches the Emperor for a chance to investigate the truth, bowing deeply in a gesture of respect and desperation. The Empress proposes an exorcism to save the crown prince, which may require Wuxu's and her own lives, all while hesitatingly acknowledging his familial ties. The Empress insists that time is of the essence as the crown prince is dying, urging the Emperor to prioritize their son's welfare. The Emperor tells the Empress to act as she pleases regarding the crown prince's situation, leaving the decision-making to her as he exits the room. Zhao Mingyu confronts the Emperor, questioning if he intends to sacrifice one son for another's sake. Nai Wang interrupts, defending the Emperor's authority. The Emperor considers the situation gravely, acknowledging that the person in question is also his son but contemplating the sacrifice for family needs. Zhao Mingyu challenges the fairness of the decision, insisting that Chu Ziyan's humanity and feelings should not be dismissed, urging reconsideration. The Emperor orders that a servant be imprisoned and prepared to be sacrificed alongside Prince Ziyan, emphasizing the seriousness of the decision. Zhao Mingyu warns that this decision will bring regret, continuing to resist the guards restraining her. At the altar, Zhao Mingyu and Ahem are forced to their knees by the guards, indicating their subjugation and powerlessness in the situation. Zhao Mingyu accuses Ahem of missing a chance to escape, but he reassures her of his loyalty and refusal to abandon her. Zhao Mingyu reflects on her lack of agency within the Imperial family, pondering the idea of controlling her own fate. Ahem encourages Zhao Mingyu to maintain hope, asserting that it's too soon to concede defeat. The arrival of the Emperor and Empress is announced, heralding a significant moment that draws everyone's attention. Zhao Mingyu claims to have identified the culprit, boldly addressing the Emperor amidst the gathered audience. The Empress dismisses Zhao Mingyu's claim, commanding the guards to silence her, reflecting her reluctance to entertain dissent. Rumors among the crowd describe the Imperial family's cruelty regarding the sacrifice of Chu Ziyan, highlighting public discontent. The Empress demands urgency, giving Zhao Mingyu a final warning to stop delaying. Zhao Mingyu declares her anticipation of someone's arrival who can reveal the truth, maintaining her determination. A new character arrives in haste, apologizing for their delay, hinting at their importance in the unfolding story. Zhao Mingyu exposes a sinister painting that drains life essence, presenting it as evidence of foul play. The character disputes Zhao Mingyu's claims as baseless, while Zhao Mingyu recounts her investigation's findings despite incomplete evidence. A higher authority considers the painter from the third prince's residence responsible, lending credibility to Zhao Mingyu's accusation. The accused painter openly admits to being the culprit, his demeanor revealing a twisted satisfaction in his actions. The painter confesses a desire for revenge after the crown prince's death, indicating a possible motive for his crime. Zhao Mingyu and Ahem react with shock to the revelation of the crown prince's death, questioning the accuracy of the information. The Empress furiously denies the crown prince's death, her anger suggesting both disbelief and desperation. An advisor presents evidence of the crown prince's demise, while the Empress receives confirmation, causing her distress. The Empress collapses from the shock of the news, prompting a call for the Imperial physician. The painter admits manipulating someone for his purposes, hinting at deceit and betrayal. In response to the chaos, the emperor orders harsh punishments for the painter and imprisonment for the implicated princes. Zhao Mingyu reflects on her lonely imprisonment, mindful of the empress's grudge against Chu Ziyan. Resolute, Zhao Mingyu decides she must protect Chu Ziyan from potential danger, prepared to take action. As the surroundings darken, Zhao Mingyu senses an unusual occurrence, raising questions about what's happening. Zhao Mingyu stands in a dimly lit cell, suddenly startled by a cloaked figure emerging from the shadows. She recoils, recognizing the figure, and points accusatorily, acknowledging the previous encounter. The cloaked figure towers over Zhao Mingyu, offering her a chance to live in exchange for something undisclosed. Zhao Mingyu is confused by the stranger's vague response, recalling their last meeting in the forest, and demands to know their intentions. Determined, Zhao Mingyu pleads for her companion's safety in exchange for complying with the figure's demands. The figure, arms crossed, questions why they should heed her request, prompting Zhao Mingyu to challenge their motivations for the rescue. The figure reveals their change of heart, having initially acted on impulse and now holding a knife, signifying a shift in their intentions. A knife clatters to the ground as the figure declares that only one person will be saved, forcing Zhao Mingyu to make an impossible choice. Zhao Mingyu contemplates the cruelty of the figure's demand, realizing the gravity of choosing between her own life or her companion's. Reflecting on her past experiences, she decides that her life has already been fulfilling, acknowledging her companion's hardships instead. Resolute, Zhao Mingyu offers the knife back to the figure, insisting on saving her companion despite the fear of death. Zhao Mingyu is determined to sacrifice herself as memories of her companion fill her mind, affirming her choice. With conviction, Zhao Mingyu declares her willingness to die for her companion, elevating the importance of his life over hers. As she falls unconscious, the figure mocks her decision, regarding it as foolish. Zhao Mingyu awakens in a different location, groggily noting the pain from her fall, confused by her surroundings. The figure states that she has passed their test, having proven her sincerity and courage for the ordeal. Standing up, Zhao Mingyu questions the nature of the test and seeks answers about her current situation and the fate of her companion. Concern for Chu Ziyan prompts Zhao Mingyu to demand information about his safety, though the figure dismisses her approach. The figure reassures her of Chu Ziyan's safety and hints at a distance between them, prompting a sense of relief from Zhao Mingyu. As Zhao Mingyu begins to leave, the figure stops her, mentioning a condition for her rescue, which piques her curiosity. The figure requests the lunar horn as the price for her and her companion's safety, prompting reluctance from Zhao Mingyu. Inquiring about further instructions, Zhao Mingyu learns the figure will appear once she has found the lunar horn, ensuring communication. Zhao Mingyu turns away, acknowledging the figure's words as she prepares for her next challenge. Zhao Mingyu approaches a carriage, voicing her hopes for Chu Ziyan's well-being, motivated by the urgency of their situation. Inside the carriage, she discovers Chu Ziyan, who asks how they escaped, hinting at the confusion from their predicament. Zhao Mingyu expresses uncertainty, hypothesizing the involvement of a powerful ally as a half-hearted attempt to rationalize the mystery. The conversation shifts as Chu Ziyan reveals he found a carriage provided by their unknown benefactor, holding a letter with a request. Reading the letter, Chu Ziyan learns of a past acquaintance's upcoming marriage invitation, adding complexity to the situation. Zhao Mingyu speculates on the nature of the invitation, suggesting caution due to possible ulterior motives related to the event. Chu Ziyan reflects internally, asserting his trust in the acquaintance, dismissing the likelihood of betrayal. Zhao Mingyu and Chu Ziyan are preparing to leave. Mingyu holds a bag and Ziyan affirms their plan to search for clues about the lunar horn outside the capital. As Zhao Mingyu and Chu Ziyan are about to leave, a soldier approaches, recognizing them. Mingyu tells him to calm down. Chu Ziyan looks out from a carriage, noting the lack of news, which indicates the emperor's silent consent to their departure. Standing beside the carriage, Chu Ziyan reflects on having a chance to explore. Zhao Mingyu is enthusiastic about the opportunities ahead. Mingyu introduces Bai Yu, acknowledging his skills in medicine. Bai Yu stands in a white robe, holding his bag. A soldier confirms that Xuan Huang and Nai Wang are watching over them. Mingyu expresses her pleasure in meeting them both. A call for Mingyu to enter the carriage is given. The vehicle sets off rumbling down the path. Inside the carriage, Zhao Mingyu pours tea for Chu Ziyan, expressing concern about Ziyan's health and noting the presence of a physician. Chu Ziyan smiles, mentioning Wuxu's promise that finding the lunar horn will allow him to live freely. Zhao Mingyu acts clueless, questioning what the lunar horn is and why it hasn't been found if it can cure Ziyan. Ziyan explains that the search for the lunar horn has been ongoing for 7 years without success. Mingyu's concern grows. Ziyan describes the lunar horn as an ancient treasure, speculating that the person who guided him may hold the key to its whereabouts. Mingyu learns about the origins of this idea. Xu Ziyan mentions Wuxu's advice to trace Wilman, a mysterious figure, to find the lunar horn. Xu Ziyan narrates the tale of Wilman, a fallen god sealed beneath a cliff by the lunar god centuries ago. A legend tells of Wilman breaking the seal, prompting the lunar god to hunt him down even if only parts of his soul remain. Mingyu is unsure about locating Wilman but acknowledges the challenge of finding the lunar horn. Zhao Mingyu questions the plan, but Ziyan reassures her that if they continue investigating places haunted by demons, they will eventually succeed. Mingyu reads a letter, finding their destination at Deer Mountain, which will take a few days. The journey begins. Ziyan asks Mingyu what she enjoys doing. She admits a fascination with visiting dangerous places. Mingyu blushes, realizing her slip of the tongue, while Ziyan wonders if she perceives him as distressed. Ziyan candidly states his preference for an adventurous life rather than confinement within palace walls. Zhao Mingyu feels overwhelmed about helping Ziyan recover and returning home, lamenting the difficulty of both tasks. Xu Ziyan expresses gratitude for meeting Mingyu, comparing her presence to experiencing both sunlight and rain. Mingyu vows to help Ziyan find the lunar horn and recover, earning his trust. Reaching Linjing City, the group considers where to rest and eat. The busy street scene unfolds before them. Ziyan urges quiet to avoid waking Ahem as they settle in. Mingyu teases him about his comfort during the journey. A commotion occurs on a street with an argument about currency authenticity. A young man defends his payment method, showing new renminbi notes. The dispute escalates outside, with the accused man trying to defend himself against the accusation of using fake money. Mingyu and Ziyan are interrupted by the noise. Mingyu realizes she fell asleep during the ride, to Ziyan's amusement. Mingyu offers to massage Ziyan's leg, humorously referring to any numbness, as their playful banter continues. Yan Quarters receives a report from a soldier. The soldier tells him that there's a fight blocking the entrance to a restaurant, preventing them from passing for the time being. Zhao Mingyu eagerly peeks out, expressing excitement. She seems thrilled by the prospect of some drama unfolding outside. Inside the restaurant, a group of people is seen in a scuffle. One individual offers his cell phone in exchange, as they can't recognize the new currency notes being used. Zhao Mingyu, surprised, questions the notion of a cell phone. The idea seems foreign and unexpected to her. The cell phone falls to the ground during a struggle, and someone explains that it's a high-tech smartphone with lots of storage, waterproof features, and solar charging. It is considered a valuable item. Another person, baffled by the device, wonders aloud what it is. Zhao Mingyu contemplates how Apple could have already released such a version. Zhao Mingyu exits the carriage abruptly, with Yan Quarters calling after her, demanding that she stops. She stops a commotion by offering to pay, showcasing a gold piece to defuse the situation. The crowd seems taken aback by her proposal. Wuxu, lying on the ground, comments on finally meeting a kind person amidst the chaos. Zhao Mingyu kneels next to Wuxu, offering to take him for a full medical checkup. Wuxu declines, expressing a dislike for hospitals. A bystander demands payment for the damage, claiming that 10 tolls of silver are not enough to cover the broken tables and chairs. Zhao Mingyu insists it's sufficient and accuses the person of being greedy. The bystander challenges her, asking how she could possibly know if the amount is enough. Tension hangs in the air as others look on. Meng Lu intervenes, standing beside Zhao Mingyu, stating that 10 tolls should indeed suffice. His presence adds weight to her argument. Reluctantly, the bystander accepts Zhao Mingyu's offer, lamenting his bad luck. The situation seems to resolve the begrudging agreement. A soldier informs Zhao Mingyu that her master wishes her to return immediately. Zhao Mingyu nonetheless regrets not talking more with someone she was excited to meet. Wuxu curiously questions why the local people don't recognize his currency, renminbi. Zhao Mingyu explains that he has transmigrated to this world. Zhao Mingyu tells Wuxu to pretend to be her distant cousin to avoid further complications. She plans to explain everything to him later, while Wuxu wonders about ending up there instead of the human world. Wuxu questions Zhao Mingyu about the human world, implying he isn't an ordinary human. This revelation surprises her. Yan Quarters instructs Meng Lu to leave, unaware of the events that have transpired. Zhao Mingyu and Wuxu exit together. Zhao Mingyu calls out for them to wait, trying to catch up as they leave hurriedly. Back inside, Zhao Mingyu explains to Yan Quarters that Wuxu is her distant cousin whose family faced unfortunate circumstances, claiming he's currently living without direction. Zhao Mingyu feigns sadness, expressing her relief at finding a cousin in this world. She seems elated by the newfound connection. Wuxu desperately halts the carriage, spreading his arms in front of it. Zhao Mingyu questions Wuxu's sudden actions. Wuxu seems determined as he charges forward, seeking attention. A soldier observes Wuxu with disbelief, noting his unexpected strength. The situation escalates with surprise in the air. Zhao Mingyu comments on Wuxu's adept abilities, wondering if he might be targeting Chu Zian as a yin-yang master. Concerned for Chu Zian, Zhao Mingyu dashes toward the carriage with determination intent on preventing harm. As Wuxu approaches swiftly, there's a forceful clash, knocking him back as someone commands him to step away. Wuxu sits up confused, amazed he's recognized as a human. Uncertainty fills the scene. A soldier assures everyone it was a misunderstanding, thinking he sensed a creature from another world and acting out of caution. Wuxu smiles sheepishly at the mix-up. Zhao Mingyu checks on Wuxu, questioning if he's alright. Wuxu assures her that he is fine. Wuxu wonders if there's an underworld creature nearby since he senses a strange scent. He admits that his sense of smell is sometimes defective, explaining he detected a scent from the underworld because of Mingyu's foot ring. Wuxu bluntly asks if Mingyu was once dead. Wuxu innocently smiles, causing Mingyu to think of him as insolent and foolish. Mingyu admits to Wuxu that she has died many times before. Wuxu reveals that Mingyu was born in a coffin, and the world mourned her birth. Mingyu excuses Wuxu's behavior, noting that he thinks differently and telling Wuxu not to be bothered by him. Wuxu agrees with the claim, pondering how he could talk about himself in such a way. Wuxu explains the concept of an incarnation of calamity, known as being born in a coffin. Zhao Mingyu insists that Wuxu leave but requests that Wuxu be allowed to stay for a few days due to his injury. Wuxu inquires if Mingyu truly wants him to stay. Upon her agreement, he accepts. Wuxu orders a guard to relay his instructions. Zhao Mingyu and Wuxu leave, told to stay away from the carriage and to avoid causing disturbances, which they both acknowledge. Wuxu questions whether they are in the Chu Kingdom, expressing doubts about his previous directions, while Zhao Mingyu insists he should now answer her questions. Zhao Mingyu guesses Wuxu's background and he confirms it, acknowledging it with hesitation. Zhao Mingyu is curious if Wuxu also comes from the Chu Kingdom and if he is a yin-yang master, to which he asserts uncertain abilities. Wuxu empathizes with Zhao Mingyu's situation, feeling they share a connection. Wuxu reflects on his origins, expressing uncertainty about returning to his roots through the inner mirror. Zhao Mingyu asks about the inner mirror as Wuxu shows it, revealing it contains his inner demons. Mingyu reacts with surprise, admitting only to have heard of the Gravekeepers. Wuxu explains the nature of Gravekeepers who exist between the underworld and the human world. Further detailing, Wuxu describes Gravekeepers as unique deities or mercenaries working for the underworld. Both Wuxu and Zhao Mingyu express their first encounter with a Gravekeeper, feeling intrigue. Wuxu states it's typical as his people haven't been part of the human world for a millennium. Zhao Mingyu questions if Wuxu is a chief due to inner demons, and he discusses his struggles and uncertainties about returning through the inner mirror. Zhao Mingyu inquires about Wuxu's demons, learning he has a traitorous enemy to face, though he lacks specific memories. Zhao Mingyu decides they are allies, asking Wuxu to accompany her if possible, to which he agrees willingly. Wuxu expresses excitement about exploring new places with Zhao Mingyu, who questions his lack of urgency finding his mortal enemy. As someone passes by, Wuxu jokingly comments on their appearance, considering them his type despite being clad in too many clothes. In a wooden pavilion, Hem stands on the upper level while Zhao Mingyu looks up from below, reminding him that the food is getting cold. Ahem reflects on how someone has never laughed like that in front of him before. Zhao Mingyu tells Ahem that as the master, he should not worry about the servant being rude. Ahem responds with curiosity. Ahem instructs Meng Lu to ask Zhao Mingyu to come and eat, to which Meng Lu consents. Zhao Mingyu tosses a small container of ointment to a figure introduced from another room, suggesting they catch it. As the figure catches the ointment, they express a brief exclamation of approval. Zilu looks at Ahem and suggests the master is acting strangely, questioning if he has a fever, while touching his forehead. Zilu inquires if Ahem is pleased she agreed to pretend to be his cousin. Ahem gives a hesitant acknowledgement. Zilu insists that Ahem is not genuinely happy. She wonders about the unexpected presence of Chu Zian in their discourse. Zilu declares her intention to return to her room. However, Ahem stops her, stating she has none and will have to sleep on the floor. Ahem requests that Zilu sleeps nearby so she can hear him at night if needed. Zilu quietly peers over the bed, asking Ahem about his actions, which causes him to look slightly embarrassed. Zilu cheerfully identifies herself as Cousin Zian, a moment of lightheartedness evident in her demeanor. Ahem acknowledges Zilu's cheerful demeanor by calling her a good boy as she sits close. Zilu, with gentle humor, instructs Ahem to sleep like a quiet little lamb. Ahem questions who she is referring to. Zilu responds playfully, talking about herself. Ahem tells her to rest as they plan to visit Linjing City the next day. A description of Linjing, renowned for the brocade produced by Song Yunkai, comes into focus as they stand outside the House of Brocade. Inside, Zilu connects the name Song Yun-kai with Lai Mubei's letter, pondering if it is the same person. A merchant holds brocade, explaining its hefty price due to its unique quality, impressing both Am and Zilu. The merchant elaborates on the brocade's floral scent due to fresh flower dyes. Am confirms the pleasant fragrance and aesthetic appeal. Ham considers buying the brocade, while Zilu questions if it's for someone he fancies given its pattern. Ahem clarifies he intended to purchase it for Zilu, surprising her with his candidness. Zilu panics internally, worried that Ahem might have discovered she is not a boy. The merchant warns that the brocade may soon become unavailable, prompting Ahem to inquire more. The merchant reflects on the unusual situation with the Song family, mentioning twin sisters and a sudden death. Zilu clutches the brocade, acknowledging that her reading partner, presumed lucky, is Song Yunkei's fiancé. Further information surfaces about the Song sisters' roles, sparking Zilu and Ahem's intrigue. Zilu enthusiastically clings affection for both sisters, leading Ahem to comment on her inclusive love philosophy as they exit the shop. Zilu clarifies that besides the person she loves, everyone else is just someone she likes. Ahem muses over the complexity of loving only one person for an entire lifetime as they walk through a serene, tree-lined pathway. Yixie offers Zhao Mingyu a basket filled with roasted sweet potatoes, hoping she'll enjoy them as a treat. Zhao Mingyu eagerly tells Yan Quarters that roasted sweet potatoes are delicious and offers one to him. As Yan Quarters walks away, Zhao Mingyu hears him state firmly that there will be no dinner for her. Zhao Mingyu expresses her preference for dinner while Yan Quarters insists that he doesn't want to dine with her. Yixie, seated indoors, enjoys the sweet potatoes he hasn't had in years, while Zhao Mingyu comments on his lack of clothes. Yixie confidently declares that others should feel honored to see his physique, dismissing Zhao Mingyu's concern. Zhao Mingyu bursts into laughter, catching Yan Quarters by surprise as he witnesses her reaction. Yan Quarters suddenly commands someone to kill Yixie, prompting Zhao Mingyu's shocked reaction. Zhao Mingyu is startled by Yan Quarters' command and questions the reason behind it, while Yixie stands puzzled. Nai Wang calls out to Xuan Huang, who remains stoic beside her. Nai Wang and Xuan Huang stand together, identified as prominent figures in the kingdom, as the scene shifts. Nai Wang calls upon her weapon, Light Piercer, with determination as she prepares for what lies ahead. Zhao Mingyu and Yixie realize with surprise that Nai Wang possesses a soul weapon. Yixie exclaims in admiration, declaring Nai Wang a goddess for being a yin-yang master who wields a soul weapon. Zhao Mingyu contemplates Nai Wang's capabilities, questioning her connections and skills. Yixie enthusiastically praises Nai Wang, expressing his amazement at her abilities. Zhao Mingyu, confused by Yixie's behavior, wonders if it's what they call being a bootlicker. Zhao Mingyu asks Yan Quarters about his actions, seeking clarity and understanding. Zhao Mingyu attempts to excuse Yixie's behavior to Yan Quarters, describing him as a little cuckoo. Yan Quarters reacts with frustration, reminding Zhao Mingyu that she shouldn't defend Yixie. Yan Quarters questions Zhao Mingyu's continued defense of Yixie, pressing her with intensity. In a moment of confrontation, Yan Quarters asks Zhao Mingyu if he is more important than Yixie, demanding her answer. Ahem interjects to clarify that Xuan Huang is not like the others and implies that action is needed. Zhao Mingyu assures Yan Quarters that he is more important, choosing him with evident sincerity. Yixie reacts to a powerful force, surprised as he's swept away in the ensuing chaos inside the room. Yixie declares his intent to leave, spurred by the abrupt events. Zhao Mingyu explains to Yan Quarters that her choice was to save Yixie, causing tension between them. Zhao Mingyu pleads with Yan Quarters, affectionately addressing him as master and seeking reconciliation. Zhao Mingyu admits her mistake, asking Yan Quarters not to be angry with her any longer. Yan Quarters demands Zhao Mingyu tell Yixie to leave and promises never to see him again, paralleling a dramatic breakup. Wuxu turns away, dismissing the conversation, while Zhao Mingyu insists that Yixie is her cousin, emphasizing he's a fellow countryman. Wuxu looks skeptical, recalling how Zhao Mingyu never changes and suspects her of lying. Wuxu coughs, expressing to Zhao Mingyu that if she chooses him, he should be her only option. Zhao Mingyu asserts her need for family and friends, stating Wuxu can't be her entire world. Zhao Mingyu decides to leave and expresses relief at being free from the burden, turning away from Wuxu. Zhao Mingyu is determined to leave, contemplating her awareness about women and noting her ability to move on, while a voice calls out asking if the master is all right. Zhao Mingyu suddenly shouts the name Chu Zian in surprise or concern.